We're in. Hey, we're here. That was a long delay for some reason. What's up? We're back. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to the Wandering Isles. I am your host. My name is Ken. I shall be your daddy DM for this evening. And we have Mr. Rhino as Amadriana, Mr. Kian as Dash, Mr. Rory as Eos, Mr. Busy as Hatsu, and Mr. Richard as Slate. Their names are on the screen, but because we're like 2 minutes late, we're catching up to ourselves. Mr. Kian, take it away with a recap.
Well, yeah, so our intrepid band of adventurers, having showcased their skills and talents at the Arcanum, have been set forth on a mission by the headmaster Remington, sent into the Isle of Volcanus to find an old friend of his known as Wolver. He has sent our adventurers off on a boat. Shenanigans happened. And then we landed on the island, set up camp for a night. Much to Dash and Liss's disdain, they don't like the cold so much. And then some clever use of sledding equipment, shields, etc. to carry equipment with them. They traveled for a day and discovered a fairly normal cave, you know, nothing wrong with it at all, just your standard cave. And go in and investigate it. Hear some suspicious noises, find some suspicious shit. And then Amadriana, for some reason, decided to pick a fight with the Yeti, and here we are.
Nailed it. Yep, I mean, none of that is technically incorrect. So, we ended with you, Amadriana, so I'll come to you very quickly. I believe you took the knee, and if I remember correctly, and I don't remember if you said it as we were ending or just right after, but you wanted to take, was it the dodge or something?
Yes. So I'm taking the dodge action, but I've gone down to one knee, bowed my head, but still, like, you know, like I'm looking at you now, bowed the head, but I'm still watching and looking what you're doing.
Yeah. You're not, like, you know, getting knighted. You don't have your head down with your eyes closed.
No,
you're aware, right?
Yes. Essentially doing the, you know, the NFL kneel.
Okay. No worries. So, the initial response from this creature is one of extreme rage.
Mm-hmm.
So I do find that the best course of action when we have extreme rage is to load a map. And when we load a map, we do some rolls. So I would suggest we do those rolls. So it is with pleasure, great pleasure, that I say, gentlemen, roll for initiative.
How about no?
Well, I respect it, but I don't agree with it. I don't know how I feel about this, but it says it's of epic difficulty. Don't know what that means. Never seen Foundry say that before. That's new.
It says I need to roll Albie, but Albie would obviously come after me.
Albie comes after you. Can you just roll it so I can move them after you?
I have rolled it.
Yeah, I'll put them right after you. That's okay.
That's what I'm saying, is I rolled it, but it's not that order.
All right. Now, I believe my players can see the map, so...
That's a lot of babies.
That's a lot of dark.
I'll sort that out for you in 1 sec.
Luckily, some of us can see in the dark.
Oh wait, so can I.
I can't.
Yeah, you got your new goggles.
For some reason that doesn't want to work. Let me get that working for you. So we've rolled our initiative order. For some reason the stream can't see the correct feed, so I'm just trying to fix this now. Sorry about this.
It's alright.
I believe it's going to be Eos up first. Someone can double check that for me.
That looks right. That's based on what I see there.
Okay.
Oh, the baby Yetis look so cute.
You probably should.
Big one, not so much. No, just their pictures.
Oh, sorry.
From the initiative marker.
There we go. Things are working. So we have ourselves an Amadriana, a Yeti, and I don't. You guys have screwed with me because it's not actually a Yeti. And all week I've been calling it a Yeti, and when I'm looking up the stat blocks for this and reacquainting myself, I'm like, why can't I find this thing?
In fairness, I called it an abominable snowman.
Yes. But in chat it was just constantly a Yeti, so I just constantly like caught up myself. Okay, so if I begin combat here, just whoever hasn't rolled. Oh, it's chicken. No worries. Eos, as we begin, you are up first. What would you like to do?
Well, guys, I'm getting out of here.
Well, I remember how to move.
Oop.
30 feet and turn.
Nice.
Well, I mean, you get 60 if you're taking an action to move.
You so didn't want to say dash there, didn't you?
Wonder why.
Nobody wants to say dash, darling.
This it does.
Not right now. Okay, catching up to ourselves here. Let's get our combat tunes on. There we go. Okay, I've caught up. We're good. The life of a DM slash tech man. Getting everything set up at once is tricky. Apologies.
Just for clearance, so we're all on one page. When we moved in, Hatsu took the last spot to kind of observe the back.
I'll put you down in the back there now, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Albie comes after Amadriana, putting him on. I'll literally put him on just the spot below you. It makes the most sense.
And I had been just behind Amadriana, around the corner, I believe.
No worries. This creature's turn is up. This thing is going to run up to you. It seems to be doing a charge motion as it like as it comes towards you, and it's going to swipe down and try and grapple you. Now, dodge. I don't know. Can you remind me? Dodge. I actually have the thing here.
Dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge.
Dodge. Let's have a look.
If it was good enough for Rip Torn, it's good enough for me.
Take dodge action. You can attack any attack roll made against you has disadvantage. If you can see the attack, you make dexterity saving throws with advantage. I'll give you advantage on this if you're using acrobatics over athletics. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a grapple check. So, it's going to be. It's going to do its roll. So you can make a check just to see if you succeed. You have advantage on this.
So acrobatics. Okay. So as it goes to grab Amadriana, she instead does this like back roll and like slide back into the movement or the stance of kneeling still though. Okay. Advantage. That would be a 24.
Okay. Barely, just barely, you manage to move back as it takes a swing at you. It lets out this guttural kind of scream, this roar. It shakes the caves as far down as all of you. So each and every one of you that can hear this, it hurts your ears, it shakes the caves, and pebbles begin to fall from the ceilings. Ceilings? Perfect, yeah. Amadriana, appropriately, you are up.
I stay there in the same stance, trying to give off an air of I'm leaving you be, wrong place, wrong time kind of thing.
Okay, so are you going to do anything else? Hold an action, disengage?
I'm going to hold the dodge again.
Oh, you're going to just dodge. Okay, because that's for a full round anyway, I think. And Albie?
I'm going to have him move. He gets his 20-foot movement. I'm going to have him move to there so that if he needs to, he can kind of alert the others, I guess.
Okay.
But he's there and watching anyway. And that's it.
Perfect. Dash, you're up.
Okay, so having heard that gutter war, staring back, seeing Madriana isn't dashing around the corner, gotta take a big sigh and go, why do I always do this? And start to move towards Madriana.
Gonna make a big Saigo no Toshi, or?
Just a sigh. So I'll take my 40 feet of movement takes me to there. I just have to see what I can see. Nothing, so I'm going to take the dash action. Of course, all my actions are dash actions, but I'm going to take more and come to here. Seeing that, I'm just kind of dash around the corner, stop, see Madriana, see it, and just kind of hands up, take kind of half a step back and kind of like a lunging down, so I'm making myself smaller. I'm not crouching as much as Madriana, but I'm just kind of slowly down and staring at its kind of midriff. I'm not making direct eye contact, but I want to be able to see its eyes, but not make direct eye contact with it.
Okay. So
If the DM would permit me, if I was to hear Dash come up, which I'm sure I probably would,
okay, yep.
as my hands are down by my side already, kind of waiting, I'd be doing the motion of like, like back up, like go away, kind of thing.
I'll let you gesture it, and I'll say that Dash, even in his infinite blindness, can see that. But I'm not sure how his response will be. So if you have movement left, you can respond to that if you like. Yeah.
No, my response would be just that kind of take that half step back, ready to move away, but just again making myself smaller.
Yeah. Okay.
Looks cool.
Oh, okay. Perfect. Next up, we have this youngling who's just gonna move over and just kind of watch. Lissa, you're up. Oh, Lissa's me.
You.
Lissa. Oh shit. Lissa's gonna dash back to dash as far as she can get, or as close as she can get, and she's gonna try and just like, what the fuck are you doing? Slate, you're up.
Seeing as I don't have dark vision and I can see absolutely nothing, I would try to get my bearings, because all I can hear is people scrambling in all directions, and suddenly I'm alone. So effectively, I'm just going to spend my turn in place because I don't know where to go. I don't exactly know what's happening, so I'm trying to be super quiet to try and decipher from the sound what is happening. So I will hold a... I'm going to call it a sprint action.
Just like run for it.
I mean, run straight into the wall, fucking
like,
crunch.
yeah,
if you
quite
want
possibly.
to, you can make an active history check to see if you can determine the path you took to get here. That might give you some kind of guidance when getting out of here. Also, you may potentially be able to see light that would help you guide your way, that kind of thing, you know?
So, yeah, I will make a history check to find my way back so I know where I'm going if and when I decide.
Oh, 18 for sure, not that hard. If you need my help, because I know your token can't physically see everything the way we can, if you need my help I can guide you, but for the moment you would know your way at least backwards if you wanted to.
Yeah, so for now I just hold that action, trying to figure out what's happening and just kind of stay quiet and still.
Cool.
That's me.
Chicken the Fox is going to run around this corner and completely vanish. Hatsu, you're up.
If I remember correct, Hatsu was on the last of these follow order thingy, right?
Yeah, some people have moved around you now in the last 6 seconds, but yes, you're back.
All right.
I did my best to place everyone where I thought they'd be, but
Yeah,
it's not as
that's
easy
fine.
because we didn't have a map.
So, Hatsu would. Well, You heard I'm Amy. I'm Adriana. Let's roll.
Trying to get gutted by Ryan, man.
And he would go. Wait, that's 50.
That's right.
Did I hear that by any chance?
Yeah.
No, I'm only joking.
I'll say
I'm
people
only
are scrambling,
joking.
but like again, your passive is pretty bonkers. So
Get echoed through the cave.
Amy. That's all you heard.
30. So I would only have seen Eos on the way, right?
You would have seen Eos and Ayami and Slate. Eos is here.
Because they don't show up for
Ayami's
me. I
here.
can't see Eos.
And Slate is here.
Strange. Okay, it doesn't show me. Wait, I go back. That's 40 feet back. So on
You're
half
standing
my
right beside
movement,
Slate. Yeah.
yeah, half my movement, I would have picked Slate's hand,
Okay.
and assuming that he would follow, he would like not dragging, but gently guiding the way in a faster pace, if that makes sense. And he would do the rest of his 40 feet movement, assuming that he could catch up on that pace of 40 feet.
Yeah. Okay, so you can drag him. It's half your movement to drag. So you can go like half your movement if you're dashing, you can go another half your movement. Or whatever.
Yeah, but yeah, okay. Because I assume when he yeah, okay, that's fine. I mean, I'm not dragging technically.
I know,
I'm guiding.
I understand what
but
you're saying,
we
but
can use that. Yeah.
correct me if I'm wrong, and chat, feel free to chime in. I just believe
it's fine.
that the dragging rule is there regardless.
All right. So I kind of dragged him 20 feet further.
Yeah, don't forget he can't see where he's going, so you're keeping him upright and like he's shuffling about.
Yeah.
It's not as consistent as him just sprinting with you. I'll give you an extra 10 foot though, because he did remember his pathing, so I think maybe that's fair. That's a good way to reward that, I suppose.
All right.
Oh. Slate's now ahead of you. Just runs past like. Yeah, that's me. She's gonna go with Hatsu, and she's going to hold an action that if anything comes around the corner, she's going to fire at it. Eos, you're up. This is much heavier music than music.
Hatsu, so good to see you. We better get out of here.
I'm going to use my sprint action to go down here near the campfire.
Sprint
Error
action.
token collide. Okay.
You have
that's
to
fine.
probably go between the things. Just drag yourself to the tents and then go between them. Or I can move you. There you go.
Yeah, it works. I don't know why. Okay.
That okay? You can move anywhere from in here. That was 40, so.
No, that's way enough for me.
I know. Anything else you want to do?
No.
Cool. This thing's going to try and grab a Madriana again. It's really annoyed, so it does this like next to you, Madriana, and like that shakes the ground as it like double fist slams the ground. It screams at you again in an attempt to intimidate you, but based on your backstory, I don't think it works. What I will do though is I'll roll intimidation actually just with disadvantage just to be sure, but I don't think it does. With a 2 it does not. But I will attempt to grab you. So it's just a normal check.
There's double 16s for a 21.
Yeah. I finally got a good number. I was like, oh, I got her this time, and immediately you're just like, yeah, here's my much better roll. Again, you just move out of the way, kind of Neo Matrix style, as it swings in front of you. It is, yeah, like it is pissed. As it gets angrier, you can almost swear it's enlarging a little bit, like the veins are throbbing, its muscles are getting more tense, its eyes are getting more red and raw. It is pissed. But it's your turn.
Okay. I want to try and attempt to try and calm it. Basically, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to start backing up. But as I do it, I want to be doing like a kind of, again, keeping an eye, but keeping my head bowed. And just like doing like a shushing motion, like a shushing sound, like a like calm, trying to project calmness, like I'm backing away, you carry on.
So you're stepping back, but you're like sorry, kind of like.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
It's like you be you stay there, do your thing, I'm going, we're all cool.
Okay. Yeah, you can take your movement.
Now, obviously, I'm attempting to do this without getting hit.
I understand. It instead of hitting at you, it's going to slam on the ground again and shake the cave again. Pebbles begin to drop and crick and crackle. It's not necessarily following you, but you do see that the line that it's not crossing may not have so much to do with where your placement is, but the we'll call it a tyke because you guys keep calling it Yeti, but like the baby. It seems to be more concerned about that and your positioning to that rather than your position within the cave. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What I do as well is as I get to about that point, I'll also put another unwrapped ration on the ground and leave it. And then basically I hand on Dash's chest, like pushing him that way, like let's go. I use my bonus action then to dash. I fucking hate that you've called him that. And essentially push Dash backwards as well. So I know that's going to be an only extra. I do have 10 extra feet, so plus the 30, so 40, so I can push him back at 20 foot.
Cool. No problem. You notice that as you're pushing Dash, can you reach Lissa within that? No.
Yeah.
Just about? Okay, she's going to help you keep moving Dash if he's not willing to himself. So
I
like
think my turn is up next after Aldi, so
she's just gesturing towards Amadrian as this is happening to like help and get her. She's still scared shitless of whatever the hell's around that corner, but like she will somewhat risk it for the dash. What about Albie?
I was just say I was gonna move my extra 20 foot there.
Sorry, move your extra 20. Go ahead. Sorry.
So I'd be like there, and then Albie's he's just following us out. So
same thing. So he'll just skirt around you. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Dash, you're up.
So I think we're in a situation where we're essentially just dragging each other down the hall now at this point.
Go.
Yeah, literally that. So I'll be taking my assume willing companions and making my way
right.
Like full sprint, full dash.
As you guys run down the cave, you note that it's not necessarily following you. Dash, you almost trip over one of the two bodies. But besides that, two of the two bodies as you dash that way. It's up to you if we stay in initiative, or if you guys are just trying to get to fuck, I might pull you out of initiative and just see how it plays out for a little bit.
I'm just trying to get us back to the camp. The only last thing that Amadriana would be doing is listening to hear if she's listening to hear if there's chomping. Like, as in, it's taken the ration and it's like,
okay.
I don't want to say satisfied, but it's,
very dramatic music stuff. You would hear one of the little one trying to chomp on it and chew on it, but the big one is definitely somewhere around that corner. You hear the snorting and the snarling, and it's still angry, like it's still like filled with rage. You feel a sudden shake in the cave as if it just punched the wall or something like that. It is definitely pissed, but it was probably an initial concern. Yeah.
Can I ask, did I notice any kind of physical barrier or even an arcane barrier that might be similar to what I saw in the vault?
Do you want to make an Arcana check?
Yeah. That's that one. And see shit. What is magic?
Who is magic?
What you do is you turn to Madriana and say, "Was there an arcane barrier there?"
Dash, lower your voice.
Sorry, did you not see the fucking that?
How are you ever going to face a raised threat if that's something that bothers you already?
You mean Eos?
I mean, I'm sure she has the potential to be one, for sure. Let's go. Calm down. I just give Lisa a knowing look of like, what have you let yourself in for?
I know.
Hey, I came to help you.
Thank you.
You guys make your way back to the campsite. Not super far from where this began. What would you like to do?
Should we not camp here?
I think we'll be fine. Hatsu?
I think depends on who makes the watch.
It's so cute. So fluffy.
Abominably adorable.
I will kill for its life.
Well,
Eos,
but,
you concern me sometimes.
I guess even if the mother would assume we are not dangerous, they always, how can I say, impatient around their kids if they're strangers, I think.
Yes. We encroached on their space. I think as long as we stay out of it, we should be fine.
The question is, how far is the space?
I think we'll be okay here where we've set up.
Is there any signs of it having been out here recently?
You make a survival
Cats
check if
and-
you want to. Sorry. Ethan.
From what
Cats and dogs usually pee to mark their
So-
territory.
14.
Did anyone smell or step in anything?
I think I stepped on a human corpse.
I wouldn't consider that marking your territory.
Well, it marks a food source, I think.
It marks something.
I
14
don't
for
think
survival again.
I don't think it is a food source though, because there was no signs of being eaten, no signs of being tampered with. Those bodies were pretty much intact. Snapped necks, but intact.
That was a "don't fucking come here" sign.
That was, exactly. But it wasn't I'm going to eat you.
Yeah, maybe. But herbivores usually don't have these canines.
I don't
Maybe for
necessarily...
defense?
Yeah. I don't necessarily think that we're not a possibility to be food, just not desired.
Omnivores, I understand.
Nom 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 nomivores.
There are tracks out here, Dash. Rather large ones that may be somewhat recent, but they lead to the exit of the cave and don't come back.
I'm gonna point that out to the group. It looks like one has left. No sign of one coming back. So if we
They,
are
obvi-
discovered here, we're
they
fine.
obviously went to the village for a pint of milk.
Just nobody's touching that. Okay.
You've not spent a lot of time outside, right?
Me? No.
Well, at least the possibility might be that Daddy's coming home at some point, and if he feels we're kinda, let's say blocking his way home, that might be the next surprise.
How fresh are these tracks?
They look relatively recent. I wouldn't say they've been today, but there's only one set and they're going out. Whatever went
The
out is not
question
getting
is,
back.
if we want to make friends here, or avoid any further conflict, I would suggest we kind of move outside this cave.
I would
and
agree with
use
that.
the tents that we have. I mean, it's cold, but
Safer.
I've had worse.
Okay. Let's get to setting up then. DM. I got pretty close to that, what we assumed to be the mother.
You smelled it and basically felt its fur whisk past your face twice. You got close, buddy, yeah.
Can I work out whether these footprints that Dash has pointed out are bigger than the ones of the creature that I just dealt with? Like, are we looking at a bigger creature than that one or a smaller one?
I'm going to make you make survival as well, but I'm going to give you advantage due to your proximity to the beast. Or monstrosity.
Pretty terrible either way in 9.
9. It's hard to tell, but they're definitely not smaller. Like, they're either the same size or bigger.
Okay, fair. Well, we always have Slate's and my own ring traps as well, so at least we'll know if they're coming out.
Could we, or can we, DM rather, tell which direction the tracks went when they left the cave?
Only to a certain degree. So if you go outside and you look, you'd probably only see about 5 or 10 foot before the snow is covering it. It's coming down pretty hard today.
Well, can we make out the general direction so that, like, if it's going west, I suggest we go and camp to the east?
Yeah, no, it would be south-southwest would be the general direction.
Oh. So if we go north-northeast.
Back into the cave, right?
Back into the cave. Kind of just away so that if we're, I guess it's a 50-50 shot whether it follows its own tracks back or a similar route, or if it's going in a big circle. But I figured camping away from the tracks is probably a good call.
I hasten to remind everyone as well, but we had only checked out one of the 3 tunnels. There might be a possibility one of the other tunnels offer us as some respite from the snow that doesn't involve going past them.
One had fairly ominous empty flasks, and one had fairly ominous monsters. So I would assume, based off of that, the third one will also be ominous.
Tell me, Dash, are you a monster?
To some.
Lesser raises her
Exactly.
hand. Eos raises her hand.
I think to be so careless with such a word does you an injustice.
That's a fair assessment.
You're much smarter than that. Try using it.
I'm a product of the society I was raised in. I'm afraid some words just fall out thoughtlessly.
I understand.
But in any case, a entity that was not too pleased to have us there.
Now that I will agree.
So I think, and it's strange for me to say this, the smart decision is to not push our luck.
I go on the
Strange
group
enough.
assessment.
I would agree. Because I think we just wanted to have a look if there's something that might be dangerous through our night. And I think if we go further, that might lead us to more stuff to deal with. So I would prefer to have a rest on a place we know, and we can maybe revisit that place in the morning.
Hatsu's right.
Just remember those researchers weren't wearing outside winter wear, so there's a good chance there is a tunnel here that leads somewhere.
A secret tunnel?
A secret tunnel?
I won't scream it. It's okay.
I know Richard isn't, but I feel like he's plucking at my fucking intrigue of things and like
I think Richard is, man. Richard's like a secret goblin, man. He's up to something.
Scuttlefoot.
Scuttlefoot, sorry. Yeah. So, I mean, I'll take the group consensus here. What are we doing?
Sleep under the stars.
Sleep under the stars.
Okay. You take down the camp that you basically set up here initially when you came in. And
So much work.
you lead it out. Maybe Remington's like next tents can be pop-ups. You put everything back in the cart. You lead the cart out. Much to my chagrin, because I was looking forward to smashing that with the giant furry snow monster, but that's okay. You lead it out and you head off in the opposite direction to the tracks that Dash had assessed.
Question, DM.
Answer, Dash.
Two questions, I suppose.
Oh, now it's 2. Okay.
One, what's the weather like?
Snowy.
Snowy, as in, is it blizzard like, or light snow, or?
Light-ish snow with the possibility of getting worse.
Okay, and is it dark now?
It would be dark now.
Okay, cool. Can I climb a nearby tree and see, just kind of get a lay of the land? See if I can see any lights. Maybe spot how far we are from. I do not. Oh, I do have second story work.
Yes. So what I'll get you to do then is you can climb up with ease. So I won't make you do any check for that, but I will get you to check a. What specifically are you looking for here?
Effectively looking for lights in the distance, so to try and locate the nearest settlement.
Sure. I mean, I'm checking it out today, but I'm pretty sure there's survival as well, so I'm going to go with survival.
Cool. Well, folks, back in a moment. I'll just clamber up the trees.
So he clambers up the trees, and then when he settles at the top, Albie lands on his shoulder.
Hey, Albie. I'll just kind of turn to Albie. I ain't got shit. What about you, buddy?
He'll have a look round, and he's trying to perceive what Dash is looking at, and maybe trying to work it out for himself to maybe help him.
Rolled a 9 on that survival.
Okay. 9 doesn't give you too much, but it might be the density of the snow creating a fog-like effect blocking your vision. So it might be too difficult for you to tell without elven eyes, I'm afraid, sir.
Tough. Okay, heads up, Albie. I'm going back down. Yeah, just fireman pole slide down.
Sexy fireman pole slide down. Got it. The music's like bam, down, bow, as you like go down the tree.
Superhero landing.
By the time you get back, I would say the campsite's mostly set back up again. You guys are getting used to this at this point. It's not complicated.
I will say, to add to that,
yeah,
with the sleds that we had made the day before, that day, I guess it was the same day, trying to bury them like standing up ways into the snow to add extra strength and support to the actual tent work, so that if there is something heavier blowing through, that it shouldn't actually pull it down.
Oh, okay. I like that.
And Hatsu would also add what they did in the first camp. Now there is no like a trench, but he would kind of go around and shove up the snow that it's like a semi-igloo structure to prevent the wind from blowing against the tents, and kind of get the warmth from the fire inside that area a little bit.
Okay. You're all working collectively to create this sort of minor village whenever you set things up, which is kind of cool. You have things going on like Slate, like last week you described, the logs automatically going in and stuff. That stuff's dope. Yeah, you have that up and running within the hour. It's easy.
Small addition I'd like to do, if Hatsu is making the kind of if you get me a perimeter snow wall to kind of deflect some of the wind, etc. There's obviously an entrance point. What you do is you build a trench, and then you put a turn in it, and all the tents and everything are on the turn, and then you keep going an extra couple of feet, so all the wind that comes in through that doorway goes straight past and then hits a dead end and disperses, as opposed to going in and into all your tents. So it brings the wind chill factor down and everything, and stops everybody from getting that huge draft, etc. It's a small thing. You can do it with a shovel in a couple of minutes, but makes a big difference.
When we end our session, do you guys just go and look at documentaries or something? Like, what? How do you guys know this stuff? That's dope.
I watch a lot of the Outdoor Boys on YouTube.
We're gonna have an IRL event at some point. That's a must.
We're gonna do like
seal with the tents and shit.
We're gonna recreate this whole thing. I'll be the Yeti. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. I like that. I'll give you guys no checks on surviving the cold for this evening, but the temperature does drop. With that in mind, is there anything else anyone wants to do before we start staying alert?
It was just taking branches off trees and using your little hatchet, just chop, 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 chop.
Nice. Easy.
Keep yourself warm by doing so.
Hatsu would also melt some ice to have
Water.
Cooked water, boiled water. Yeah.
No problem.
Dash just kind of sitting back there. What do you think they wanted with those creatures?
Well, it could simply be that they stumbled upon a home, perhaps? Or something more sinister, I guess.
I just kind of look at Lissa and go, my vote's on sinister.
I don't think they wanted those creatures at all. They wanted something else that was in that cave. That was part of the reason. Yeah.
Well, I think both are part of a possibility, I think. But before we move ahead, I think it's always a good idea if you go into new lands to explore its nature a little bit more. So if we find something in the third or second tunnel, that might be an indicator of what really happened here.
Yes.
And we might have some answers for the people that might search for some of their scientists, maybe.
Are you saying you'd like to check it out in the morning?
Yeah, we should be fresh when we did it and give the beautiful beasts a little bit time to rest and reset. And they also might pick up our smell. That might help in the morning as well.
Well, ordinarily I would be in favor of exploring the unexplored. We do have a primary mission here also that we perhaps should focus on. We lose half a day exploring those tunnels.
Remington told us that we will encounter people that might be not that friendly towards people like us, right?
Oh, absolutely.
And in my past, when we had to go through unknown terrain, it always helped if we had something to trade with the people that we have to pass. So if we can give them more insight on what happened to their scientists that they might be looking for, that might also give us the tipping point to be welcomed instead of being threatened.
That brings up another point, actually, Hatsu. I know I can enter any village, and Lissa can, without much opposition. Assuming yourself and Amadriana would be met with some form of suspicion, though maybe not outward aggression. Slate as well, of course, can blend in. I'll just turn to Eos. You can disguise yourself, right?
Of course. I've done it many times. Normally, I stick to the dawn and dusk. I would have a cloak like this, and I would just simply slip away through streets, any form of cover, make my way through, not to be seen.
So you try to not be seen. My concern is if you are seen, it's a risk we have to take into consideration out here.
Well, you guys could forge ahead. I'll find a tree or a bush to hide in, and because then that'll be back to me to let me know when it's clear.
Let's turn to
Well-
Lissa. How do you feel about a scouting mission?
Could be treasure in it. Research Town has research money.
Do you think they like the monarchy?
Probably work for the
What?
monkey.
What is a monarchy?
Pray you never have to find out.
I think monarchs are a species of butterflies, right?
Yeah, I read about them in the
So
book.
is a monarchy like their home?
Monarchy is a species of butterfly, yes. No, a monarchy is what you would refer to as the royal family. There are rulers.
Oh, I heard about them evil people.
Hmm. Yes, exactly. Well, evil to from a certain point of view, I guess. If
Just
you're
evil.
their inner circle,
Evil.
if
Crusaders. Disgusting.
you're part of their inner circle, I don't think they see the evil. Too blinded by gold, ironically.
Blinded by hatred and bloodlust.
Not even sure
So
if it's
as-
hatred, bloodlust, or just more lack of caring. It's almost worse.
Bloodlust.
Yes, you might spark a revolutionary in me yet.
Live free until the end.
Shall we
So
get some rest?
that's what I was trying to say. Thank you.
Sorry, Hatsu. I know 2 or 3 times we're very engrossed in the conversation.
No, it's fine, but I think you punctured out the urge of fulfilling the mission. But no matter what we start with tomorrow, we should be rested, I think.
Absolutely.
I'll take the first of 2 watches, and then I'll wake someone else for the last 2.
I only
You
need
can-
a few hours. I'll go after.
I don't mind joining you on the first watch, Madriana.
May I suggest something? What if we take the same order as last time, so we can adapt to the sleeping rhythms
Ah,
for those who need?
Remind me again. What was the order before?
I think you did it with Lissa. I think Eos did it with
Dash, I believe.
Dash, yeah. Ayame did it with Slate. And I did the last one, I think.
May I suggest then, if we are to do this, maybe we change the order for this time and keep it for this as the same. As Eos has just quite rightly pointed out, neither of us seem to need as much restorative rest as the rest of you.
Dash needs his beauty sleep.
He definitely does.
What I wouldn't give for a 4-poster and a nice warm fire.
So if I take the first 2 sets and Eos takes the second 2, and we do that from now on, and then Hatsu, you can pick within that time slot of when you want to go, and same with everyone else. And we keep it to that from now on. Does that sound fair?
Alright.
This is good.
If Dash
This is
fucking
kinda-
wakes me again, though, I swear.
I didn't wake you. That was the Madriana. Go take it up with her and her dad.
I don't.
You know her dad?
Okay, so
You
would you be
Dash?
So
fine?
Dash gets the filthiest fucking look from a Madriana. Like,
Who's your dad?
not
Oh,
even
it's your
kidding, like,
turn of phrase in Palperoth, just, like, oh,
Really? I've never heard that phrase.
it's like, how's your mother for turf kind of thing.
Oh, people just said that to you, not to everybody.
Oh, well, fuck me, I guess.
Nobody
You
wants to
there.
see Dash.
I'm going to try hide an apologetic look back to Madriana, like,
I'm going to start my watch now. And she stands up and she just walks over to the nearest tree. And because I'm guessing obviously it's snowy everywhere here, right?
Yeah.
So it's just a blanket of white everywhere. So she is actually going to fold out her wings. And she has this thing where if she kneels down and like kind of, in the cross-legged position, she can wrap her wings around her, but still have just enough vision that it looks like she actually blends into the snow. Like you can't see her because her wings are white, and the few bits of black and stuff that you may see just makes it look like she's maybe part of the tree or a rock or something, so that she can sit there and keep an eye.
Okay.
And she is sitting there thinking about ways in which to make Dash disappear right now.
I'm going to get a stealth check from you with advantage because of your super cool plotting and positioning there. And then, as always, investigation or perception for your watch.
So that's a 14.
I'll just turn to the rest of the group. If you don't mind, I might join her on the first watch.
And I go for perception this time.
Did you seriously just wake me to tell me that?
10.
How fast did you fall asleep? It's been like a minute.
Man, my wife will tell you I fall asleep in a minute, so listen, fall asleep in a minute. That's how I work. Stealth check is 14 and perception check is 10.
I'm putting that bad stealth down to the fact that she is kind of sitting there seething a little bit.
Yeah, you're not paying attention, and some of the snow and coloring that you've used dislodges, and it like unveils you a little bit, but not enough. It's okay.
Do I see where she went?
Definitely not. Albie would be sitting there next to her though, and would be kind of nudging against her, knowing her emotional state as they are bonded.
Huh. I would actively look for her.
You'll find Albie.
And from there, I assume I could probably ascertain.
If you have
If you
to
get
ask,
close enough, yeah. If you get close enough to LB, obviously she knows you're there, so the Magiana just not even looking, not even moving, just says,
Adriana,
"What the fuck do you want?"
to apologize. Genuine, that was just a slip of the tongue. I was trying to take the piss out of Lissa. I didn't consider...
I understand that, but as I told you on the boat, one more slip of that tongue and you'll have no tongue to be able to slip again.
I'll be very careful.
I hope you understand, Ash. You're at a point of privilege that I have not allowed anyone else to have. Because, for whatever stupid reason, bad judgment on my part, I considered you to be at least a solid ally. Don't make me regret it.
No intention of it. Honest mistake. Stupidly in this group, I always let my guard down.
She softens ever so slightly at that. I understand.
What is it
Something
about?
I was always told because of the industry of Verdois and the people that came and went, that loose lips sink ships.
Loose lips are how I make my living.
Then you should know not to loosen your own.
I should. Absolutely. Again, I apologize.
I accept. On this occasion. and she'll just pull the feathers down a little bit, just so you see the glint of her eye and a little spark. You can probably imagine she may have just winked.
Has anyone ever told you you're a scary bitch?
Usually before they die.
Okay, that was a cool line. I'm definitely using that. Dash takes a little note in his journals. If I
Has
may
there
be
been
so...
any more drawings in there?
He just turns the journal around. There's a couple more pictures of Albie. Actually, quite a few of Albie. Dash appears kind of fascinated by him, and it's like him almost bathed in, I wouldn't say a halo, but kind of light coming from around him, almost magical, I guess. Trying to capture the magical essence of him being created or summoned, or however. I don't understand magic too much yet, but he fascinates me. He's beautiful, beautiful bird.
As I said to Eos, from my understanding, he's created as a symbol of me, I guess. I'm assuming that's why he's much different coloured from what ones I'm used to.
What's it like in Verdor?
Specifically? Do you mean the people? Do you mean the place? The air? The water?
More interested in the people.
You have those that control and those that suffer. Usually in a much, much greater fashion is the suffering. But still, it's a place ungoverned by this world's kings.
Completely ungoverned, or just kind of technically under the umbrella, but it's left to its own devices?
I honestly believe that it would take the whole rest of the world to try and take that place. The king has no govern there.
Without knowing, if I didn't know the rest of the context you're implying there, that would sound almost idyllic.
It would be if it wasn't for the fact that the person running it is probably worse.
Person running it being...
Yes.
With the entire economy? Transport system?
Everything. And as much as I had surmised, I never really contemplated how much of a reach he had until you mentioned his name. I didn't realize that his power stretched so far.
I mean, just the fact that he has influence in Verdwar and Palperoth, that enterprise could only be second to Decker's, or maybe even
The kings.
greater. Not sure if you can count the kings as enterprise or the genetic lottery.
It's an enterprise in that he is governing around everywhere. I guess you could assume my father is the same, but just not as visible.
honest with me, Adriana. If my ultimate dream was realized and the king unseated and anarchy were to reign, does that make for the ideal environment for your father to rise to power in Palboroth?
Yes. Which I tell you right now is not a good thing. Which is why, if we are to do this plan, as you wish, you would need to help me on my side of it as well. I have by no means any ideals of dethroning one king to have another take its place.
So my concern is the devil you know better than the devil you don't.
In this case, we both know different devils.
There's no path forward without risk anyway. There's no future in which an attempt to make things better doesn't make things dangerous for a lot of people. Ourselves included.
Everything will go to shit for a time. But with the right people making the right calls, you'd hope that things would settle into a proper position.
You're aware if we pursue this course of action, people will die. Innocents.
Innocent people are dying every day regardless. It's whether the people that are dying die for a worthy reason, which makes the difference.
A lot to think about.
Indeed. One other thing though, Dash. No harm is to come to my mother. She's had her days of wrongdoing, but she's well aware of it.
Okay. You have my word. Probably about time to wake the next one for the watch.
Dash realizes
Yes.
it's been 3 minutes.
Yeah. Grab Alyssa there, would you?
I'm not waking her.
But she's next up. You must.
Is she next up?
Well, I think I'm up with Eos, I think. Sorry, I didn't want to disturb
And
your
Majan is doing 2.
conversation.
Yeah.
Midra's doing 2 and Dios are doing 2, so there's one of us or
Crossover.
Yeah.
crossover. I was gonna go wake Slate.
Yes.
But Slate's disguised as Alyssa and you don't know which one's which. Slate, you are roused awake by Dash.
Oh God, what?
Your watch.
Oh God damn it. Okay.
Good night, don't wake Lisa. Dash screams into the night.
Just sitting outside of a tent. Oh.
I'll kill every wolf. Yeah, Slate, you emerge from your tent. Madriana, would he be able to see you at this point?
I drop the wing long enough to give a look of,
Yeah.
I think I just spend a minute just to double check that things like the auto log burning fire is doing what it's supposed to do, and everything looks like it's supposed to look. Nothing's been disturbed, or
Eos's tent is ablaze. One of the logs fell out. Like
yeah,
she doesn't
exactly.
notice. She's just like so toasty. Yeah, it's everything is running as it should be. Your mini fire industry it's really taken off, man. You can sell this. You don't even need to adventure anymore.
I think I'd do a quick lap, I suppose, of not exactly the perimeter, because I would be trying to stay closer to the tents and the fire, etc., but a shortened version of that, just to cast my eye that nothing's out of the ordinary. And then I think I would mosey over to Adriana, because it's late, I'm tired, and why not?
I think I have my check already from Ryan. Is that right? Did we do that for the first one? I don't actually know if that's the first one. So you have advantage if you want to, or Dash and Adriana, you guys can do your roll. I just need to get that from you, whichever way you want to do that, for perception or investigation for the watch.
I did my first one, which was 10.
Okay,
For
Dash, you
perception.
can do the other one for perception.
Oh, I didn't.
Sorry,
I didn't do
just
one.
very quickly.
Yeah.
Perfect. You're
it's
engrossed
very
in
engaging
conversation. Yeah. 10 and a 2. Stimulating conversation, but thankfully nothing went wrong anyway. Slate and Adrian, I'll get yours as well, just so I don't forget, and then you can dive in. I get so caught up in the story, I forget I'm a DM, man. I'm just listening to you guys talk, and I'm like, oh, yeah.
And Adriana's in a different world tonight.
Yeah, Dash really threw her for a loop tonight. But Slate, however, is on the ball with a 17. Adriana got a 9, and Slate got a 17.
One of the things I want to do is basically cover one of my eyes, sort of like that old thing about the pirates, above deck, below deck type of thing, but also snow blindness, etc. So I want to keep one of my eyes covered with my hood or whatever, so that if any of the light from the fire is distracting me, or my vision is, you always take in the light, it means I can switch to the dark eye and look into the dark. Although my dark vision, I don't have it. It is, slightly better, and it's just something that makes me feel more comfortable, because it feels like I'm in control, because I'm actively doing something to be part of the role. So that's just something I'll do in passing.
Nice. Yeah, you're working on because you're not magically gifted in that way specifically. You are finding other ways to make that work for you.
Yeah, just giving myself every opportunity, at the very least, even in my own head.
Nice. So you two sit down together. It's relatively quiet. Like, you have your time, but there isn't much in the way of activity or anything strange. One eye is probably kept towards, I don't mean in the way Slate was just doing, I just mean in general, one eye is probably kept towards the cave and stuff just to see, but nothing has emerged from there. No threat so far.
Had any dreams lately?
No. I've tried lots of things to try and recreate it or have it happen again, but no joy. I don't know what triggered it last time, but no. Knowing a little bit more, I'm almost more lost than I was before, because now I know some of what I'm missing.
Maybe Eos will know of something to jog memories.
We'll see. I guess that's a morning conversation. We'll see where the morning takes us.
I would say that Slate would notice that Adriana's a little out of sorts. Whether or not he wants to pull her up on it or not is kind of up to him, but you're very good at encompassing people's persona. So you notice the subtle changes in people's, we'll call it insight. You're very insightful in that way. You do see, like, given your feats and what you've chosen as your build for Slate, I would say that one of your passive skills would be insight in that degree. Like, of course, you still have to make active checks, but you notice when something's not quite right because you pride yourself on being able to emulate people. That's your whole thing. What you want to do with that is entirely up to you, but I would say even a Madriana you'd be aware of, yeah.
So what I'll do, when you're with somebody and let's say two of you are together and you see somebody like stumble or nearly fall or do something where you look at each other, you don't say anything, but you have that knowing glance of you just had a whole conversation in one look.
Yeah.
I want to do that with Madriana, but the way I want to do it is I'm going to turn into a Madriana as she normally is and sort of be like this, and then turn into how she is now. So there's the subtle changes take effect in front of her, and then I'm just going to point
theater
like
mask, sad theater mask.
Yeah. So again, the conversation is being had without a word being said. Yeah. Because it's visualized in front of you, but there's no pressure because I'm not saying anything. I'm just showing you what I see, literally like a mirror.
I'm not quite sure which one I prefer. I get your point. Have you ever... Seems like a stupid question to ask you, I suppose. Seems there's some of what we've learned about you, but... Have you ever let go of something about yourself that you've instantly regretted?
Probably too many times. The problem is if you do it often enough, sometimes you forget what you've lost.
Everything I've been told my whole life. Keep information sacred. Keep the knowledge that you grow to yourself to use against anyone that may oppose you. I'm trying to break that ideal because I don't believe in it. But there's still a part of me that can't help but feel like I've let myself down because I've allowed that to happen.
Or maybe you've just grown and it just feels alien. Only time will tell, because they say hindsight is 20/20, so give it time.
Well, seeing as though I act at 2022, hopefully it'll come quicker. I don't know. I guess I'm not used to having people around that I need to look out for, I guess. It's kind of thrown me off a little. For the first time... Sorry.
I was going to say maybe that's a good thing.
Yes. For the first time today, well, not for the first time today, but the first time that happened today, when we were in those caves and that creature came out at us, I didn't think about flying away. I didn't think about getting the fuck out of there. I could have easily got past all of you. Never even thought of anything. But something made me not want to. So, what are your plans for tomorrow? What do you think we should do?
I mean, based on the cave, I'm going to start with don't freeze to death overnight, don't die, and everything's up and up from there.
That's definitely the preferable.
And as you say that, I'm going to turn into the happier version of you and be like, there she is.
I know we probably shouldn't, but I don't suppose you managed to bring along any drink?
I'm just going to go like this, 1 second. And then I guess I could go back to my tent and see how far it was from the fire and if we have a slush puppy scenario or solid scenario. I think what I would do either way is just take them out, put them near to the fire, and then just start to rotate them every couple of minutes till they come down to a more somewhat drinkable scenario. I'm quite sure that either way they're going to be crap, but being what it is, I think I would then plod back to Madriana and say, look, I have some. It is what it is. So, yeah, how they've spoiled or how they taste, but it's creature comforts, and it's absolutely something better to think about than how cold it is.
Indeed. And hopefully the coldness of these will match the coldness outside.
That's it. So I'll just open them up, pass one over, and then just enjoy the moonlight and the snow and a drink.
So whatever moonlight, starlight, flurry of snow we have around us, Magiana just lift her beer. Good night, Weston.
Little bow of the head. Cheers to the sky. Have a little drink.
Be it the alcohol, be it the conversation, be it the calming energy, Madriana and Slate are gonna dream just a little bit better tonight.
Nice.
As the time goes by, there's no real sign of danger. It's actually almost quiet. You sit in silence and you hear the gentle wind blowing, the snow caught in it as it dances across. Not much else needs to be said in terms of words, but it's definitely a memorable moment for both of you. Who are you waking up? Oh, go ahead.
I'm going to wake up Eos. Actually, no, I'm not. I say to Slate, will you do me one favor before you go to sleep tonight?
Mm-hmm.
Will you change it to Dash and go and wake up Lissa? Just wake her up, say goodnight, and then leave. I think it'd be really funny.
Before I've even said absolutely, I'm already walking over just full stride, full send.
And then I go and nudge Hatsu and Eos to do their watches.
When I go over to do this, what's the proximity of Dash's tent to Lissa's tent? Where are they facing, or how far apart are they approximately?
I don't think we discussed it, but for the sake of it, I'll say one tent over. Why not?
So what I'm going to do is stand between the two tents, closer to Dash's tent, and using his voice, I'm going to talk through the tent to Lissa and be like, Lissa, are you awake?
For fuck's sake.
That's it. Just gonna
She's gonna storm out of her tent. She's gonna look around and she's gonna be like, "Oh, you son of a!" And she's gonna walk straight into Dash's tent. Dash, you get awakened by just a solid slap. I'll say a 1 hit point of damage solid slap.
You just up, and he's like, "The fuck is wrong with you?
What's wrong with you? What are you waking me for?
I was out cold. What are you talking about?"
You're calling out
And
to me in your
amazing.
sleep?
And then Madriana walks up to the tent, zips it back up, and walks away.
Slate, I'm gonna kill you.
Then, in my own voice, I'm just going to say from my own tent, love you.
At this point, I would say, Hatsu, Eos, you guys are awake as well. That was a loud interaction. The slap of that alone was probably like echoing against the ridges.
This is
Wake up the
grumpy at
wolf,
night.
Hatsu.
Well, let's take watch. I think they made their watch right here at the tree.
Mm. Tea?
Or you have tea?
Pick a sock.
And she points at her shoes.
I mean, the tea's not ready, right?
No, I have to make it, but do you want rubies or peppermint?
I think for the night, Rubius is better.
He just goes and makes tea using the campfire and just brews up a nice cuppa.
Have you ever played circles and crosses?
Yeah, as a child.
You could pass the time.
Well, the thing is, if you figure it out once, it's either you win or it's tie.
Hmm. Your choice.
I can set
You
this
have
up.
read so many books, right?
I have 2 books. One about the flora and the fauna, and the other was about celestial stars and star signs.
I mean, you spend a lot of time in libraries,
Hmm.
right?
Most of my life.
Have you ever heard about the game of chess?
I've read about it, the game of kings and queens. And pawns. Never played it.
This is a game.
I'd love to play. Do you have a chess set?
Unfortunately not. I have a version that we played in my home. But we call it shogi. It's a little bit
Ooh.
different.
I would
Well,
love
you
to play.
see, the game of chess was made with the vision that the pawns don't matter that much. Usually, the queens and the bishops and the knights, they only care about 1 or 2 pawns that might be worthy to be promoted. Whilst in the game of shogi, the most important figures are the pawns. Because every pawn can become a general.
I like this, Hatsu. When you were training and you were in combat, were you a pawn or were you a general?
Well, you see, there's the difference. Sometimes you have to be the pawn to make it work. And sometimes you have to be the general. The hardest thing to do is to figure out when is the time for what.
must buy a chess set or a shogi set. We will take that.
I'd love that. So, whilst they're talking, Hatsu's kind of intrigued to get a sip of the tea, but he wouldn't do that next to Eos. So he attempts to kind of sneak around the tree, being out of line of sight to get a sip of the tea, and then move back, pretending he wasn't leaving whatsoever.
I would say that's fine. I'm not going to make you do a stealth check for that because you know your limits, so you know what you're looking for and what you're revealing and what you're not. So I'm going to give you control over that.
Okay, so before he would try to attempt it, he would lean a little bit over to Ears and say, "Whoa, the stars look beautiful tonight."
Oh.
And while she's looking up, he would do it like up his mask a little bit to make his mouth free and
Did
go
you know
back.
those stars are the belt? You call that the belt? That's the handle.
It's the belt
Don't
of
call that
dwarven strength.
Capricorn. Oh, it's in the sky. What? It's the belt of
Oh,
elven
there.
strength.
There's
No such thing.
many alignments of stars that got names, and they changed over time,
And
and they're all beautiful.
they're all incredible. Historically, the names have changed depending on who was ruling the lands at the time. Some major religions and major belief systems changed. Some people call certain planets Jupiter, for example, but their real astroname is something lost to history.
Well, but you can't see planets, right?
Not yet.
Hmm.
I've heard of a device. Telescope.
A scope.
Yeah. It's a long pipe with little pieces of glass inside it. Different levels of magnification.
Something like a spyglass.
That's a better name.
Sometimes I lose myself in the stars. There was a wise man once. I forgot his name. He was tied to my homeland. He was a really good explorer. I think his name was...
Your mic is cut out there, pal. You're going to have to get back into talking. We'll never learn his name.
He's a bit of an explorer. My mother, in the latest letter she sent to me, said he's gone out with his group of colleagues, friends, adventurers.
His name was Charles Handier, I think.
Oh,
Kind of an exotic name, but he was a big part of the build-up of Saiga no Toshi. And he once said, if you would count the stars and weigh it against the sands of every desert, there would still be stars in your hands.
wow. Amazing.
And it's amazing and terrifying at the same time. You know,
In a way.
it's so many of them, and this is only the suns.
Yeah. There's a notation.
So many
from-
objects, and we can't learn to agree on this little pearl that we live in on.
Oh, this little pearl is carefree and relentless at the same time. There was a note in an appendix of a book from long ago that the stars we see in the sky are memories of stars that once were.
Hmm.
No matter how far you reach, Your destination is always ahead of you, either in the past or the future.
Well, Eos, sometimes I find myself lurking into the skies and try to find a reason to keep going. Because every time I think about it, I don't find an answer on the question, what difference does it make if you look at all the suns that we see in the sky?
That's a tough question.
Does anything change if you go left? Stars will still be the same,
It will be.
no matter which path you take, no matter which way you go.
True. They will guide you home, if you want them to or not.
Well, I think sometimes it doesn't matter for what's around us, but more for what's inside of us and how we want to fill ourselves, our souls. Do we want to charge it with bad things or with good things? And what even is a good thing and what is a bad thing? It's sometimes difficult to distinguish between the two.
Indeed, Temple, where we had our send-off for our friend Wes, they gifted me with something. An hourglass. And a scales. And even the slightest drop of sand or the smallest drop of water will tip the scales either way. I believe what you think is good to you. What you strive for to better yourself. There is goodness in it. And that's who I believe you are, a genuinely good person.
I always thought that it would be better to be a balanced person than tipping on either a good or a bad side. But that would also mean to accept the bad things in you. But I still don't understand. Well, maybe we'll find out one day.
Absolutely. That was a good cup of tea.
Atsu, as you sort of simmer down, you notice something you haven't noticed before. Your jutta is giving the faintest vibration.
We will take a look at it. Osado. And he would... Oh, sorry, but what was that? And he would investigate the jitta.
As you look at it, two things are happening simultaneously. One is a low sound from it, and another is a sound that I can't emulate with my human voice, so we'll just have to compare it to a tuning fork. In the key of C.
What impression would it give to him? Like, what would it indicate?
It's a good question. You tell me.
That happens. Like a tuning fork, and it would pulsate.
Eos, you hear nothing. He's just looking at his sai, basically.
Okay, he would get out Okay, he would draw out Kazejoba a little bit. And he would kind of get the backside from the sword, and he would kind of hit the jitter against the dull side of the sword to kind of see if it would tune in to some degree.
Your sword doesn't make the sound, but the jutta makes the sound a little louder, and Eos, when he does that, you do actually hear what he's talking about, this ringing sound. Just for a moment, though.
Ooh.
Hatsu, it is getting more intense for you, though. You can feel it. It's almost like, do you know, actually, tuning fork is a really good example. If you hold a tuning fork and you feel it, it's vibrating in your hand, and it's emulating the sound. It has the low tone underneath it, which a tuning fork doesn't have, but it does have, like, the rest of it is almost emulating a tuning fork as if you'd hit it off something. The only snag is you haven't hit it off anything. Well, you hit it off your sword, but this is happening regardless.
Ah. He smiles. And he puts away the jitter. And he would just say out loud, "Thanks for the bee."
Hatsu, any time.
Oh, no, I'm not talking to you.
Oh.
I'm talking to her.
You put the jutta away, and it's still vibrating, and it's still increasing. And as you place your hand on it, something catches your eye. Near the entrance to the cave up the way, you see a large creature returning. Something that could pose a threat.
Well, Eos, for a second I thought I was reminded to tune in into myself, but unfortunately I think the jitter tried to tell me something different. And he makes her focus towards the cave.
Hatsu, you've heard stories of just this jutta. It's a legend back inside Saigo Notoshi. The jutta of the Hidden Watcher. It is said that this would bring an awareness to certain threats, danger, or surprises. Something that may tune into Hatsu's natural abilities and help him in the future.
Oh man, I love what you did. I know what you did and I fucking love it. Thank you so much. He would approach a little further to kind of estimate the demeanor of the creature. He would like to check out if that creature is just checking in, because he would assume that the creature got attracted from the smells, the fires, and everything, much so as a bear would be towards a campsite where there's stuff made and all sorts of stuff. So he would look, if he would look out for danger or curiosity.
Are you telling Eos?
Yeah.
Then you have a...
Well, I think we should approach a little closer to find out what it's up for.
Okay, you're better at this than I am.
Either one of you gets the advantage or both of you get the roll, but it's either investigation or perception. And then Hatsu, I will also give you an insight check.
You can give Hatsu advantage.
I would just say if your insight is higher than 5, I would give you the roll.
What are you, metagaming?
Sorry.
It's my favorite clip from last
Yeah,
week. I love that, man.
just as I said it, I was like, busy, shut up.
Oh my god.
On a scale of 1 to 20, how insightful are you?
Nice.
That's better.
Much better.
22.
22 for perception. You definitely have clocked this thing, and you've got a good vision for it. You are watching this thing, and you can see that it is looking towards the campsite with sort of an interesting curiosity. I'll get an insight check from you as well, please.
Mm-hmm. Normal, right? For 17.
17. Yeah. So the creature is not necessarily aggravated by the campsite, but is certainly curious. However, this is not the same creature you saw in the cave earlier. This appears to be a different one that was making its way in and saw the smoke in the distance and is just keeping a safe curiosity about it. Not necessarily encroaching, but that thought may have crossed its mind, and that's wherein your just in my head might have reacted.
Well, I think we're good for now, but that thing is definitely curious about the campsite. I think if we want to make an attempt to make a friend, we should make it now. Well, but I have an idea. Like, just follow me.
I thought I
And
agreed.
he moves over to Slate's tent. And he will be kind of a mix between excited and worried. And he would kind of tip Slate, but in like an unpatientful way, like mommy, 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 mommy. Slate, are you awake?
Oh God, well I am now.
Well, good. Do you remember what you did to the baby thingy? The doodly doodly, yuggity yuggity?
Right?
Well, I think one of its parents is at the cave entrance. I think we should try that again. I think they want to learn or understand.
You mean like it's watching us?
Oh, it is watching us.
Do you want to do this now, or do you want to wait till everybody else is up?
You prepare. I wake up the rest.
Yes, that's a great idea. You do that.
And you see Hatsu like the day after Christmas Eve, like Roadrunner running through the camp, like. We need you. We need you. Urgent, fast, hurry.
Well, there's a few things you note, Hatsu. It's easy enough to get a Madriana awake.
Oh, Dash is sleeping without his boxers.
Definitely easy to get Eos awake. Ayami is definitely happy to help you. Slate's up and at him. But Dash and Lissa take a little bit more coaxing to wake up. With that in mind, we'll take a little break as they finally wake up and Lissa screams, "Fuck!"
Ooh.
They are wide awake. But we're going to take a little break in the meantime while everybody gets dressed and ready to gear up and do whatever the hell is about to happen. In the meantime,
Is poor Lissa ever going to get a full night's sleep?
that's the BBEG is Lissa with no sleep. That's what we're working towards.
Not with Dash around.
Oh my.
As we go on to our break, I want to say a huge thank you to On Your End, who gifted some subs, and to Vixen, who donated some bits. There was a few other things there I might have missed on my list, and I do apologize, but you guys have been fast, and especially at the beginning, and it was hard to take notes, so I do apologize, but thank you so much to you guys for always helping us out and supporting us. We've changed things up a little bit, so we will be shouting people out and thanking you for your gifts and for your bits and everything, and we're going to try and keep active notes of that stuff, and thank you during our breaks, and thank you at the end of the session, of course, because we don't want to interrupt the flow of RP, but at the same time, we appreciate it so much, so we can't just not say anything. That would be crying shame. We wouldn't feel right by any of us. We had a long discussion about this, so
It was like 10 minutes.
it was like 6 minutes. But 6 minutes back.
That's
and
us
forth.
Yeah, and us talking to each other out of character, like we don't actually like each other that much. So,
Yeah. We don't talk ever. Yeah.
No, ever. Not all the time.
That's
daily
gonna spread one of
Discord.
those rumors that like we're in a band, but we don't talk to each other when we go off the camera. You know.
Are we the Fleetwood Mac of D&D
I was going to
campaigns?
say, are we Fleetwood Mac?
Dibs on Stevie.
Dibs on Stevie.
Oh my
I'm the
God.
DM, so I got it.
Damn it.
It's almost like we all get on except for one of us that we all talk about.
Yeah.
I will say, Kian, you are a
Jen.
sexy motherfucker, but you're definitely no Stevie.
Oh my god.
She's a better beard.
God damn
How
it! Stop.
fucking dare you?
I'm telling Milda you said that.
No.
Tom, thank you so much for the sub as well. I
Gracious.
actually did see a few subs come in at the beginning.
I'm telling
as well.
them
Thank you
Major
guys so
Arm to
much.
stab dash for that.
What do you want, Tom? That's the stab dash. We'll do it, Tom.
Yeah. What do you want for your sub? Yeah, we stab dash? Or we just encase him in snow.
Step dash, all on the floor. Step dash, give me some more. Step dash.
Stab dash.
Make sure that okay, well that's turning into a gif. Make sure that you guys vote on if will you defeat the boss before we're back, because we are about to go on our break, and of course that means that we're going to have a boss battle. How do you enter the boss battle? That's a great question, guys. How that works is we'll go on BRB, and a timer will start on the screen, and a message will come in chat. You put in ! And your class, so wizard, warlock, cleric, something, fighter, cleric, because you guys always need it.
Cleric.
And you will get a little character on the screen. If that's there, you are in. Nothing to worry about. If your character is not there, please make sure to enter the details again and make sure you typed everything correctly. It is super important that you do. And what'll happen then is a boss will appear. Will it be a renegade knight? Will it be a dragon? Will it be that fucking thing from Monster Hunter that keeps kicking the crap out of us? I have no idea. But whatever it is, it's going to be a boss easy fight. So best of luck with it. We will get it started now in just a moment. We'll be back in about 10 minutes.
You
Seems like a
type
good
the
time.
number for your move.
Yes, that's right. You can type the number for your move. You don't have to type out the text. You can just type 1, 2, or 3. Thank you so much, Rory. But for the moment,
Nice.
let us kick in. Enjoy our break. We'll be back in 10 minutes. Much
I'm
love,
gonna
everybody.
make a cuppa.
Yeah.
Oh, bye.
Hello, we are back. We find our adventurers waking up in a variety of different ways and manners, with different people beside them in some cases. And we're ready to continue? Question mark? Everyone got their peppermint tea ready to go?
Are you ready, Slate?
Yep.
How
What
are
are-
we going to do it, Hatsu?
The fuck you talking about?
Just lower yourself something. A little more silent. And he points
What?
towards the entrance of the cave.
You can all very clearly see it once you exit the tent. Shit.
Can we just go back to sleep and pretend we didn't see him?
He puts up her hood. Stealth.
Ayami stands beside Hatsu with her hand on the hilt of the sword.
I take out a ball bearing.
That's not the little ones, alright?
I know, but there's a child in all of us, or some shit. I don't know, I'm really fucking grumpy out, so I just woke up.
Shh.
Oh, is that the same
Listen.
child that watches away when problems occur?
Listen,
Just let
nudges Dash.
Slate do his thing.
Listen,
I'm
nudges
going to go
Dash
super
quickly.
quiet.
And just like,
Sorry, go on.
Dash, voice,
Yes, I have a voice.
Dash, voice. She nudges you really hard in the knee.
Not so loudly, jeez.
And Adriana, what were you saying? I'm so sorry, pal.
That's all right. I'm going to go like super quiet, move round, trying to leave as very little footprint as I can. And basically, I'm trying to flank from the right side.
Cool.
Just
Right.
in case.
You guys are along the ridge and facing upwards, so I would say the left side, because that would present you with the opportunity to go. Because where you would have come out of the cave would be where it's standing. So for you to go to the right side, you have to go into the cave. So for the left side, you would be outside. So I'm going to say left side with
Oh, with that side to it.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, sorry, because you went further down on the map. So
Is it?
Is there any way I can get like above it then? If the ridge side is here,
you can fly.
can I go up?
Like, but yeah, it's like, but these are mountain parts that it's built into. You can get up on it if you want to, but it might see you attempting to do that unless you're really stealthy. Like, but with your wings, you really could do that, yeah.
See, I don't want to flap because I think that would be more seen. I want to try and get not above it, but like at a higher advantage point from it.
Okay. Yeah, you can move up the ridges that are closer to your camp and kind of be above it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll do that then.
Do you have a climb speed naturally, or?
No, I don't.
You don't.
But I will dash if I need to.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, you'll dash and kind of move as quickly as you can. The rest of you, what are you doing?
I'm going to turn to everybody, particularly Hatsu, but to everybody, and say, Hatsu, this is your plan, but are we doing this? Like, am I going to go and try and talk to this thing? Because if this goes wrong, we're back to where we were.
I mean, technically, it's your plan. I just help you to remember, but I think you kinda imitated the sound of these creatures once, so it might be worth a shot.
I can do a positive and a negative. Oh, fuck it. I'm just going to turn around and not hide and just walk towards it in the snow, because I want it to see me, so that's what I'm going to do.
Katsu was going like, shh, I don't mean to shake his hand. Just make sound.
Like, make it sound like one of its babies is lost out in the wilderness in the snow near this crowd of people that it doesn't know.
Exactly.
Then it's just going to come over here and be really upset again.
Yeah.
No?
Can it see us? I wave to it.
Eos is walking around in a squatted position with the cloak over her. She's on there trying to be stealthy.
I'm going to try something different. I'm just going to continue walking towards it. And how far is it from us currently at the starting point? How far is it?
I would say you guys went a ways down, right? So about, I'd say, I don't know, you guys are smart, so you're not going to be like just 10 feet away from this entrance, but I'll say about 100, 150 feet, somewhere in that bracket, just saying
Sure.
Comfortable distance, right?
And then the second part of that question for me then is, what is the weather like? So what I want to do is I want to use my loot, but I'm trying to judge how far, the furthest I can be away, that the sound will still travel effectively.
I'll say...
So if it's high wind, or if it's, lots of that, then I'll have to go closer. If it's low wind, then I can go a little bit further, that type of thing.
All right, so the wind is picking up, but I'm going to say that we're going to flip a coin to determine if it's in your favor or not. I think that's the fairest way to do this. So yeah. Heads, or one, because it's a D2 technically. Heads, which is 1, we'll say it's in your favor. Tails, it isn't. Fair?
Yeah.
Cool. Flip a coin.
Perfect. Do you want me to roll one now?
Yeah, if you don't mind. It's in chat there. It's the first one on the chat bar.
Why am I not seeing that?
Sorry, it should be the first one. It should look like a coin. If it's not there, then... Oh, mine actually doesn't have it anymore. Sorry, you're right. Just do /R space 1d2. It'll still flip a coin. Eos, in the meantime, you notice that your hood and things aren't making you feel as hidden as they once did. Might be something you need to figure out there.
No, that's
/R space 1d2. Yeah.
No. The other way, isn't it? The other. Yeah, you do it.
Should work. /R 1d2. It worked for me.
There we go. That works. Yeah.
It's a 1 here, so there you go. We'll take a look at that and see why it's not working for you and why the option is still
going. It's all good.
It's a 1, so it's in your favor. So the wind is blowing quite strongly towards it from you, but that might be even why it picked up on the scent in the first place.
I guess I'm gonna travel to 50 feet away, So, yeah, close enough, but not miles away either. What I'm going to do is just do slow but deliberate movements. And then I'm going to sit down cross-legged, take out the loot that I have, the new magic loot that I got, the Dreamweaver's loot, and because it does illusory visual effects, what I want to do is two things. I want to do illusion of what looks similar to the researchers that we think it killed, and in tandem with that, so it'll show an image of them, or like, you know, close to whatever I can conjure to that limit, and then I want to show, you know, let's say their baby or whatever, and then I'm going to do my mimicry instead of singing, and I'm going to do the negative sound that I heard the baby make when we approached, so when it was fearful, that brought the mother, etc. Well, after we gave away our position. Then I want to switch the image to be silhouettes of us, and I want to do the positive noise. So when the child was playing on its own, when it was happy, before we startled it and before the mother was engaged to come out. And then I'm going to basically do a bit of that on loop, but I want to see how it reacts to my performance, I guess. And the whole point of sitting down is to make myself smaller. I'm not trying to hide from it. It can see me, but I'm not intimidating. I'm not approaching. So it's just it's a conversation of sorts. I don't obviously know what its level of intelligence is, but that's part of why I went closer, because I want to be able to try and see it, to try and gauge some of its reaction to what I'm doing, as opposed to just doing it in the distance and going, yeah, I hope it can see. So give it the chance to see it, what I'm doing, but also me the chance to see how it responds.
Okay. Yeah, so no problem. You start to approach it. And as you do, you take out your lute and you kind of play this. It's like a slow melody, something that gives you comfort, but isn't so lighthearted that it sounds jovial and isn't so dark that it sounds terrifying. You find some sweet ground where it's captivating. You show images of these researchers, and you play noises that would indicate like the negative response of the type.
Yeah, distress or alarm or whatever. Yep.
And then you, of course, continue with what you were doing and show the other side of that, which is, of course, a more positive note when you're dealing with yourselves, right?
Yeah, I'll show the ball bearing, the ration, you know, the positive interactions, that there was no violence and that we left and we mean no harm type of images, you know.
For sure. Yeah, there's absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. I'm gonna give you advantage on persuasion here because I'm struggling to think of a better check.
Sure.
Don't think this falls into animal handling, so
yeah, unless you want to go performance, but it makes no difference to me. They're the same.
Performance is
So
good as well. I could give you performance. Yeah.
whichever you
all right.
prefer.
Yeah,
Makes no
I'll give you
odds.
performance. That's actually better. Yeah, I like that.
Okay. So advantage, you say?
Yeah.
Perfect. 22.
It's performance of your life, man. The creature does not seem agitated, but curious. The closer you get, the more you realize it is larger than the previous creature, which almost seeps in and intimidates you, but that intimidation passes.
Could I, what seeing the performance that Slate's doing, just kind of move forward with the ball bearing in my hand and kind of underhand toss it towards it, to kind of at the same time as he brings up the thing with the ball bearing, just to show, yeah, we gave it to the kid.
Hits it in the face, it immediately goes into a rage monster. I'll say I'll give you athletics or acrobatics to toss it, but like you're more dex based, so it promote using dex for this.
When he throws it, is it like when Chunk throws the chocolate bar to Sloth and it hits him in the face?
That's what I was really, really hoping for.
Yeah, it's 14.
And you toss it, and it doesn't even get kind of close enough for it to realize, because the ball bearing is about this size, and that creature is probably cumulatively the size of the party put together in a huddle. So, like, it doesn't quite get what you need, and it doesn't catch his attention, but it is there somewhere in the snow. Forever. Lost.
Forever.
Alone.
Not a sentient ball bearing, no.
It's just crying. The tears freeze.
DM, don't do this to me.
Oh, sorry. So, Slate, in some way, across the threshold of language, you are communicating with this creature. How would you like to proceed?
What I've observed is I've obviously closed the distance. We know this is a larger one, so it's a different one. Potentially, you know, if it was a mummy daddy scenario or something like that. It's not, when the wind was in my favor, it means our scent, etc., was given to them, so they know that they were here, etc. Like I said, I was non-threatening, made myself small, etc. So I haven't seen any threatening or even defensive behavior from it. It's simply just there currently. I have played the song and showed the images. Has it done anything in tandem to, if it was split in two performances, a negative performance and a positive performance, did it do anything in reaction to either of those? Did it, you know, any mannerisms, any movements, any sounds? Did it have any reaction whatsoever to any of it, so I could try and base my next move off of what I may have seen?
It had a somewhat... I lost my voice there for a sec. It had a somewhat gruff and strong response to the scientists, and then a more calming reaction to, not necessarily like the side of food or anything, but just it could be potentially just not seeing the scientists. It seems more bestial in its level of understanding. It sees something, it hates it. It sees something, it likes it. Very straightforward, very easy principles.
So what I'm gonna go with is something that would be more known to me, would be the equivalent of, in terms of a beast, albeit domesticated, when you see a stray dog or someone else's dog that's out, that's, you know, barking at first when you're far away, and then when you get close, sometimes you're like, oh, they're just not sure of me, rather than, oh, they're going to attack me. You know, there's a difference. So I'm going to kind of lean into that and think that I don't think there's any immediate danger. So what I'm going to do is move forward another 10 feet, but without getting up. So I'm going to just scoot along on my bum, basically, 10 more feet, and just do the exact same thing. So my scent is closer, stronger, and I'm just going to spend time in its vicinity. So I'm not leaving, I'm not startling it, I'm not putting it into anything other than at ease, because I'm going to stick with the at ease portion of the performance and just hold at what I'm doing, and effectively let it decide to come out, go in, whatever it wants to do, see if it wants to come to me or whatever have you, and just keep doing what I'm doing, stay where I am.
Okay. With that in mind, you don't get approached by it, but you don't necessarily lose its interest either. It's not sure how to react because it's not sure what is kind of happening here.
Mm-hmm.
There's certainly a sense of intrigue or interest, especially in the fact that you're handling this quite respectfully. Like, it's not, there's no sense of disrespect from that, but at the same time, you don't necessarily pose any kind of threat or non-threat. Right now, you're sort of sitting right in the middle of that. It's a little bit hard to describe. The breathing is increasing. It's heavy, deep breathing of it getting stressed. That is something that Slate would easily notice. There is a sense of like, okay, you are kind of pushing it a little bit, and it might react favorably or unfavorably, but the likelihood is, given that this is a bestial creature,
yeah,
you're probably going to get whomped.
Fair.
Right?
Yeah, fair. So based on that, I guess I'm gonna stop playing at any sign of distress, and then I am going to sit still and quiet to see if it does anything, and then very slowly start to back up effectively.
For no reason at all at this point, I would like to ask, anyone else in the party doing anything with them?
I was just about to say, Hatsu would pick. He would get out of Remington's backpack. He would get out a few rations that he would feel would be a good amount for that creature.
10,000.
And I mean like reasonable, within something in mind that Hatsu wants to do as well. So he would get out the rations and kind of present them in the direction towards Amadriana. And he would use like a sign language, and he would show the ration, and he would do like a bird symbol, and then he would point towards the creature, trying to signal Amadriana to send over Albi to pick up the rations to bring to the creature, to have like another animal creature that's kind of not threatening to give a present as sign of respect.
You would probably need to do about 5 rations if you're trying to be reasonable for the size of this creature compared to you. It would easily eat 5
would
times
be
more
also
than you a day.
Yeah, also in like a volume that he would estimate that Albi might be able to carry, if that makes sense.
Albi can make multiple trips too if you want, but if it depends on you. I'll tell you that to like, for the size of this, logically it'd be about 5, but how much Albi can carry is probably 1. Albi is a very
See, I say he would prepare it, he would signal it, and it's up to Amadriana how she's trying to handle that, I would say.
While you're doing that, would I have made my way slowly back towards them?
I'll say you're moving slowly back at the moment. I just want to give people a chance just to do things in case something goes terribly wrong here and I need to know where everybody is.
Yep, that's why I was asking where am I.
You suddenly remember something about her cloak that she couldn't figure out for a while. She like shakes it and then roll for stealth again with advantage though.
Not with advantage.
What did I miss then? What the fuck? All right, disregard me for the time being. I need to reread things.
Picking up what Hatsu is trying to say, but taking a different slant on it. The wings do come out. She'll swoop down as Hatsu is holding out the rations, grab them up, and she'll swoop back round, and as she gets, let's say, 40 feet from this creature, she'll gently land onto the snow and just start slowly walking towards the creature with the rations out wide. But she's going to keep the wings out. So she's taken what Hatsu has tried to say about maybe sending Albi because he's a creature, and instead using what is essentially a creature aspect that she has to try and show that she's of that nature as well. But then still offering out the rations.
Okay. So, in terms of quantity, I need to know how much to mark off, or how much Busy needs to mark off. So, how is what's the best way to do this? Like, what are you proposing here? Like I
That's
know
whatever Hatsu had held out for Madriana to grab. So
you grab all 5. So Hatsu, mark off 5 then, or send them to Madriana, whichever.
Yeah.
And then
mark them off, yeah.
just mark them off. And then Albie's gonna take him one shot, basically. Just bring him over.
No,
right?
I am.
Oh, you are directly. Sorry, I misunderstood. Okay, so you're gonna.
So I'm
gonna
swoop past Hatsu, take him off in myself.
Yeah.
And then I swing back round, like I said, land about 40 foot away and just walk slowly with them in my hand.
Gotcha.
But with my wings out.
Okay, sorry, I misunderstood there.
That's okay.
I got what you mean. So, okay. So, yeah, you wings out, you grab them, you move towards this creature. What is your proximity here?
I land at about 40 foot and I make it to about 20 foot. Because the idea is, like a kiss, right? You go halfway.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I go halfway and not necessarily like a bow, but like a dip of the shoulders. And I hold out the offerings, but the wings are still out, ready to move me if I need to. And also to show that he doesn't necessarily need to be scared.
So you land and kind of like go into a walking pose and then sort of stop about 20 foot away, and the creature is sort of like doesn't know what to make of you. You're a large bird now to it, right? So there is this kind of like kind of curiosity about it.
And I'm gonna go into like, you know, the theater pose where it's like the deep bow and the presenting.
Lowering your eyes is a big thing for it. The creature is clearly female. Presenting this, the other one would have been male. With that in mind, this is much larger. Like not superiorly larger, but a larger of the two. This is the hunter gatherer of the pack. The other one defends the pack. So the father stays back, mother goes to get food and does these kinds of things, and also kills the shit out of anything. That's when you'll note that further back is a dead polar bear, neck cracked, laying there in the snow, clearly food that it has brought back. Polar bear large, offers a lot of meat, offers the fur and stuff like that too. Good fat, exactly. And so you realize that it was out gathering food, which is probably an assumption you'd already made already. You offer the... Man, these rolls, I really want to go... I kind of want to go animal handling. I know it's not an animal, but I kind of want to go animal handling. But I'll give it persuasion as well. You're not trying to deceive it. You're not trying to do anything. So I'll say persuasion is okay for this.
Yeah, I'll go for persuasion then. Come on, dice. Please don't fuck me over here.
Dimension the dice. Nope. That wasn't Orgoth the Relentless, I'll tell you that. 5 is not great. You dip your head low, and it's lucky you're perceptive because you can hear it coming, and it doesn't sound friendly. I will give you basically 1 moment to react to this in whatever way you see fit, but this is coming in hot. So at this point, Slate, you're back with the group, but you've got eyes on Madriana because you're moving backwards, so you can see what's happening here as well.
I think as she flew in, I would have stopped because previously I was the one at the front.
You don't have to be fast, just faster than the slowest one in the group. Yeah. Ayami would be probably stepping forward cautiously, just to be sure. And Madriana, I will give you your move here.
Sorry, I was just trying to think what she would do.
In the meantime, if anyone else has a reaction that may be fitting, and I mean a reaction, if it fits this situation, you may use it.
Okay. I do have an idea of what I would like to do.
Okay.
As this thing is moving towards me, Madriana puts her arm out like that, and Albie lands. And Madriana just takes Albie in and strokes it as if a motherly touch. And just sitting there stroking Albie, like trying to have that connection spirit of we don't wish harm.
Okay. Is anyone else doing anything else here?
How far away is Madrion at the moment?
If you're back at the campsite, 100 feet, or I would say like 120.
Yeah, I'll just
You
kind of
still
throw a
ruffling
look
from
to
her
Lissa
standing
like,
with the cloak.
What's the dash say?
I'll just kind of throw a look to Lissa like, fuck's sake.
Lissa's gonna nod and she's gonna pull a dagger from her belt. She's gonna hold it blade face down. She's gonna sort of go into Naruto pose and go with her arms back. She's gonna move into the. She's gonna run about 100 feet forward.
Yeah, I'm doing the same one from each
Sorry,
forearm.
80 feet forward. Sorry.
And I will keep in tow, trying to be as stealthy as possible so as not to provoke anything if I can avoid it, but getting into range so that I can.
There's no stealth roll for this, as if you're going with her, you're dashing. So you're both dashing, but you're doing it at low pace, low. You're not fully running, sprinting, but you're moving.
I have something that I'd like to do. I was 50 feet from it. I moved 10 feet towards it, being 40 feet on my bum, and then I started to go back. So would you say I'm still within 60 feet?
I'll say 60, sure.
All right. So I'm going
when
to.
She landed, right? You didn't just keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'd like to gesture to the oncoming party like a slow motion. I'm not stopping them or anything. I'm just saying to them, you know. And,
as you do that, you go like this and just hit Dash in the face. You throw your fist up as a stop, and then Dash just runs into. Yeah, no, that's fine.
I'm just indicating that I have something cooking, shall we say?
Okay,
that's it.
Lissa would take that cue and stop next to you then, but would be prepared to move forward on a moment's notice if that thing tries to eat a Madriana.
Yep. So I'll go into like a, like a sprinter's pose when they're about to go off the blocks to the gunshot type of thing. It's like that.
Like the
so
Flash. Just like...
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
So my own version of that, and I am, rather than saying I'm holding an action, I am prepared with a reaction, shall we say, and we will see how we go.
Okay. Well, that's enough for me. On that note, while Eos is like tampering with her cloak, Atsu, are you doing anything here?
He would. I think he probably would. Also, on the same demeanor as Madriana did before. He would kind of find an off angle, ready to prepare to kind of help out Madriana. So basically, he would flank a little, and he would make sure that he would be 60 feet away from Madriana, if that makes sense.
Okay. No problem. Okay. So all right, so I'll go with, let's say Madriana, right? Let's start there. For Madriana, I'll get you to I'm going to give you a persuasion check with this, and I'm going to give you advantage because I know what you're trying to do here, Ryan, and I want to reward that because that's, like, it's pretty cool to stand there, take this, and not just run, but also I know you're not being, like, suicidal with this. You're trying to speak to the mother in this creature.
Yeah.
And I see that, and I want to reward that, so I'll give you advantage on it. It's going to be persuasion, but if this is low, that thing is going to try and lump you, and I'll be into the sun. So, like, just be forewarned. It is kind of at the tail end of that. 17. That was a good time to get 17.
Yeah.
What happens here and what happens next is you all watch as this thing raises a hand and starts to swing it down on a Madriana. But it stops as it sees Albie, and it drops its hand to its side, and it starts to lean in and sniff at Albie. And Madriana, when I say you can see this thing's brain through its nostril, I mean the nostril is massive. Like, so when it's sniffing Albie, like it's all it can do to not inhale like you and the bird, right? This thing is gigantic, and again, given your backstory and the things that you've seen and been through, this isn't something that terrifies you because you've somehow still seen worse than this. But with that in mind, this is still something you are actively cautious of. And that is my DM speak for just be the fuck careful here, because this can go wrong like that. So yeah. Well done though, because that is quite the play. I don't think many other people would stand there and just try and communicate with this thing, even if it's barreling at you. So yeah.
With that
I guess it takes a rhino not to be scared of a rhino, right? So
I'm used to charging.
Yeah.
With that though, and now with it being that close, she takes, like, because as she was holding Elby with this hand, she had the food here. She'll stop stroking Elby for a second, take the food, and just hold it out. With it being that close, it can now smell that this is food to be taken.
In what might be a surprise upset, it does swing its arm out again, but it stops next to you and lays it down on the ground beside you. The palm of its hand could engulf your body. Like, we're talking a very, very big creature. And as it lays its hand down, it allows you to present it with food. You understand, not for itself, but it is now thinking about, much like you with a smaller creature, it's thinking of the smaller creatures it needs to protect as well.
So she'll squat down to one knee, or I squat down to the one knee, still holding Elby. I put the food in the palm, and then I lay my hand on the hand. Just gently. Just to feel the pulse, to feel the heart rate. Understand this creature.
It looks towards you, and the red rage... I've not actually looked it eye to eye right now, just as well to tell you. Sure, in your peripheral you can see it though. The red rage of veins popping within its eyes subside, and for the first time you see a creature like this with white in its eyes. It moves back towards the entrance door and suddenly kind of swings around as it does, which may or may not cause something in you, just like, oh, what the fuck. It moves back. It places its hand down and basically in one hand picks up the polar bear and throws it onto its shoulder, and it begins to walk towards the cave, and then it looks towards you, almost gesturing for you to follow.
I will start following slowly.
It leads you back into the cave where your campsite was once set up and heads towards the tunnel specifically that you had run from. It begins to walk down the tunnel, every so often looking back to make sure that you're still following.
Okay, I'll carry on following. As I have followed though, I know where Hatsu is, right? Like, Hatsu made sure I was able to see where he was going to be from.
I imagine so.
Well, he would hold the distance of 60 feet of her, just to be sure.
Yeah, but like you would have made it known where you were to me, right? So I knew where you were, kind of thing.
Yeah. And he would also follow within 60 feet of range.
Yeah, I was going to say, Magiana would have given him a come after sort of thing. And yeah, I'll follow it in. I'm still holding LB on my arm.
Okay. You walk down the tunnel, Hatsu and Till. The rest of you, are you following or are you staying?
Following.
You will naturally be wanting to follow where Hatu's going, while also starting to give up on the cloak.
For obvious reasons, I'll say that wherever Hatsu goes, Ayami will follow unless instructed otherwise. Wherever Dash goes, Lissa will follow unless instructed otherwise.
Yes, did you miss all of that?
Oh, what'd you say, Dash?
Madriana there just got fucking killed.
Yeah, well, I need to speak to Taylor. Hang on.
Focus. Come.
You focus.
I'm
Where's
focused.
Madriana?
Oh, good
Where's
lord.
Gusto? What's happening?
Yes. Follow me.
No, you got me in trouble.
You fucking better.
Yes, you
I'm
look forward
fine.
and you notice that Slate is walking in, Hatsu's walking in, Ayami's walking into the cave. They're all heading back in, and Amadriana's nowhere to be seen.
I'm also
Oh.
trying to stay within 60 feet like I was previous as well.
Okay, so you're kind of in that range with Hatsu. Yeah. Listen, Ayami would be somewhere near Hatsu and Slate as well. Then. Dash and Eos just shuffle to keep up. As you all enter the cave, a few things to note. Hatsu and Slate, you're the only two who know where Amadriana went, because you have that 60 feet of range to see them. Amadriana, you're still following up, and you're about to reach the curve where you encountered the youngling the first time. Eos, as you enter the cave, your cloak begins to shimmer with the cosmos of the universe.
Dash will hear a.
Are you kidding me?
Eos, your understanding of the cloak is that when darkness surrounds you, it becomes more useful. You only see the stars at night. As you all enter the cave, are we doing this stealthily? Are we doing this hurriedly? Amadriana, you are the exception to this question.
Stealthy.
Stealthy? Then I
Stealthy
will
now.
need stealth, and Eos, you may have your advantage.
Yes.
Also, just to answer a question that will probably come up later when you've had time to think about it. The campsite is not a dark area. It is quite light with your campfire. So that is why the cloak may not have seen the stars. 24 from Eos.
I'm writing it down.
18
from
for
Dash.
Dash.
9
I'm
for
not
Hatsu.
doing stealth.
And Slate's playing his lute. And ruining all of your stuff.
I'm not playing the loot, but I'm within 60 feet, and I'm still visible. I'm still staying low. I'm not stealthy, but I'm not, but I am visible for sure.
Amadriana, you passed that point. You notice that the small rock that the Tyke was kind of hitting this other stone with was actually a geode. It was trying to break open. It was captivated by the sparkles of it. But that creature isn't there anymore. And as you walk around the corner, you enter a large cavern.
Can I pick that up?
Sure, you can pick it up. Just add it to your sheet as a general item, and I'll fix that later for you.
I'm not planning on keeping it.
Okay. You walk down the cavern. You enter a large room. 2 of these large creatures are there, and several of these smaller ones seem to be there. And you hear a choir of, like, just as they're curious as you enter. One of the large creatures, the one that was already here that you encountered earlier, suddenly gets really quite enraged and comes towards you, but an arm stretches out to stop it as the other large creature prevents that. It sits sort of looking towards you, and then it gestures to the tunnel that leads further down, and it nods, allowing you to pass. However, it will not accompany you further than this point, as if something is encouraging it to stay. It chooses not to walk down this tunnel.
Does it seem frightened of what's further in the tunnel?
You can make an insight check for that.
That'll be a 18.
Sure does. Seems quite intimidated by whatever may be further down that tunnel. As the rest of your group sort of comes around the corner and realizes that they're face first in this cavern, both of the large creatures react strongly to the presence of suddenly 6 of
No,
you.
I'll just put up my hand. Like, and then about 10, 15 feet from the babies, I'll go down onto my knees. I'm still got LB on my arm at this point. Actually, he would have probably transferred to my shoulder at this point. I still have the wings out as well. And I take the geode and I find what I imagine to be like a rock or an outcropping or something on the ground in front of me. And I'll just gently like crack it like in a circle round it until it's like broken. And then I'll open it up and hold it out towards the little ones.
As you do and you sort of place it lower, all of the little ones just suddenly come around and they're just looking at us as this kind of amethyst geode creates sparkles within the confines of the room. They are very entranced by this. They start taking little pieces from you as they do. And they kind of move back from you a little bit, but there's a very definite understanding of appreciation for this. And a subtle knowledge that you probably won't be eaten for doing this.
And then I'll stand up. I'll look back at the group. And as I hold my hand out, like the way a Madriana holds a hand out is almost like that kind of thing. As she holds it out towards Eos, and her finger just starts whirring round.
Would you be able to see me with a 24 in stealth, though?
We'll say someone else.
Okay, not Eos, then Slate then.
Yeah.
Yeah, Slate then. Sorry, I didn't realize.
Interject, but I didn't want to stop your flow, yeah.
Hatsu had a 9 as well, so you see him like.
But Hatsu thinks he's
Easy.
stealthy as shit, but like.
Yeah. I message, to Slate and just say, lead them past me, carry on down the corridor or down the passage. They'll be fine as long as you make no sudden moves.
So at 60 foot away, I'll turn back and whisper exactly what I've just been told back to the group. While we're passing through the cave, I will also pick up my bell and string that I left for the alarm the night before, put it in my pack, and carry on.
Of course. It's a crumpled bell and a broken string, but you can have it for now.
It's fine.
We can make
It's all
things work. I'm sure there's someone who can mend such a thing.
There is. I was just about to say that. So yeah, I'll pass that on to the guys. Had a low whisper, explain what the situation is, and then just continue at a slow and steady pace along the path, not beelining towards them, just clearly going past where we've been told to go in the way we were told to go.
You're about 20 or 30 foot from her at this point, not 60 anymore, because you had to come around the corner and she wasn't moving at that point. But that's fine. You move on the far side of the cavern. You all continue, as far as I understand it, unless someone interjects. I assume you all move in a line down the side of the cavern and through.
And I'll have my arms out and my wings out wide as well, as if to create a barrier between them passing through and the creatures behind me.
There's a density to the air, Madriana. Now, you have smelled stuff like this before. Out of all of the group, there's only 2 people that I would say recognize this stench. Madriana and Hatsu. If you think you know what I'm talking about, you may interject.
I'm assuming it's the smell of death.
Yep. There is a strong, foul odor. The cobwebs that line the walls, the tunnels ahead are deeply covered in moss, so the earthy smell exists here. But there's also a very strong smell of death. It's pungent.
What is that?
What we're heading into.
It smells like ass.
How do you know what ass smells like? No, don't answer that question.
I glance at Lissa.
Damn it, Matt.
Once the group.
Harley's offended.
That's one of the pups.
I
isn't
don't
it?
know
Just
what
like,
that smells like.
Chicken's just gone apeshit.
once the group have passed the creatures and are, let's say, 10 foot away, I'll lower the wings, I'll turn around, and as I back away, just 5-10 feet away from them all, again, she does that theatre curtsy and bows her head to these creatures.
As you navigate through the rest of this tunnel, you're approaching there's a T-junction, one that goes left and one that goes right. As you look to the left, you can see that it curves around, and as you look to the right, you can see 2 tunnels, one that curves around, and then further down, yet another T-junction.
Where's the smell coming from?
Everywhere. However, I'll say moving towards the other T-junction, there's also a faint smell of fresh air.
I would say at this point, Hatsu would kind of mark the way that they go in. Usually he does that by taking one of the shuriken and kind of tries to carve something into the solid stone walls. Kind of makes some arrows in which direction to go.
We can stay here for a moment. I can send Albie along and see if I can find anything, or we can just pick a route.
Under normal circumstances, I'd go for the more fresher smelling route. Unless we want to go deeper and see what the cause of this is.
It's tough to speak here.
Yeah.
Well, I think since we have the opportunity, it might be a good shout to send someone to scout ahead.
DM, does it feel warmer one side or the other?
It feels cold as shit on both sides.
I'm quite fast if you want me to sprint down one side or the other and report back. Probably take Albie.
I don't think it's a good idea that any of us goes alone. We don't know what we're going to find.
So why don't myself and Dash go one way, Albie another way, and then there's only the T-junction left. If we were to take the two odds, then there's a T-junction left. So there's 4 ways to go, by the way I heard it
but
explained.
that's the kind of splitting we were talking about.
Fuck it, let's go left.
That I can agree with. A decision is made.
And Dash is pulling up his face covering.
And Hatsu's
becomes
just
easier
last
to
in the
smell.
line, just goes.
It becomes easier to smell with your face covering up.
This doesn't smell too much like ass.
Again, how do you know?
Shower just once in a while.
You know what? Oh. Shut up.
We've been granted one pardon by these creatures. Let's not fuck it up now, eh?
Yeah, that was fucking risky, by the way. Like, is there room in that backpack for your balls of steel?
What can I say, Dash? It's an animal thing.
Majorina has that dog in her.
Whatever floats your boat. Okay, let's go.
So you're going left first.
Yep.
It's not far. 20, 30 feet until you come to the corner, and 20 or 30 feet down when you find what looks like almost, I'll call it an effigy. There's a pillar of sticks that are going upwards, and then they form at the top almost a triangular shape. At the bottom are mossy stones. Within it, at the back, appears to be a large circular rock with some webbing around it.
So this looks like a ritual place?
Possibly.
Any symbols to deities? Actually, first of all, can we make sure there's no traps in there?
Okay. Make an investigation, or I would say investigation.
I would like to help with that if I may.
And you may have advantage, or you may both roll.
Individual?
Yeah, I do individual.
That is a 17 for Dash.
And 11 for Adriana.
No traps per se, but the webbing is precariously placed. But upon closer inspection, there may be a rhythm to how the silk lines this room. Embedded between what would be standard cobwebs for a cave like this are large twine threads, very thin, that spread around this room. It doesn't appear to be connected to any trap, but it might be a form of early warning system akin to what a few of the party may place every night. Given the high roll from Dash, I'll add for Dash specifically. It looks quite old.
Is there a leading point though? As in, like if you set a trap, if you set an alarm like this, or the way that Adriana and that she's seen Slate do, is that you have your beginning and your end, but at the end is the bell, is the thing, the trigger, the thing that makes the warning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So with these threads going round, where's the center point where the alarm is?
It appears to be to the totem itself, to this effigy that is there. Upon closer inspection of that, if anyone wants to roll inspection,
Oh yes, please.
investigation, I should say, I will let
Definitely
you.
looking.
Yeah, I'll let you do that.
So close to a nat 20.
9.
We swap
from
places.
Dash. 9 from Dash and 18 from Adriana. Dash, you're looking at the effigy itself, and that's fine. Dash, what you realize is that they are not sticks, but bones. Specifically leg bones of humans. In Adriana, however, what you find is that this is designed to be destroyed upon being tampered with. What kind of signal that would send, alert that would send, can't tell. It seems very archaic, not something you would do right now today, but perhaps in an older time this may have done something else.
Question out. Does it look like they're holding something in, or can I see straight through to the other side?
Straight through the triangular shape, and at the back is this kind of like roundish rock that's embedded against it, but the actual shape itself, it doesn't look like it's holding anything now, although it potentially could have at one point. It does seem specific, and each of the bones are the whole way up intricately carved with different symbols, but I know your sheets and nobody would recognize what this is.
None of us.
None of you.
Could I sketch the symbols?
Sure.
Just maybe for later reference.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just take a minute to sketch them.
Other than what this trigger would do, which would drop these bones and create this effect that, you know, is supposedly been set up here, is there anything else that looks movable?
Just the round rock shape at the bottom may be movable. I mean, the effigy itself could be movable too, but it looks like it would probably collapse.
Yeah.
But it's not stuck in. It's not made of concrete. Like it's like it's made as a precarious contraption, but it's made. But this rock at the bottom, and then a few feet away is a large square rock that almost looks like a bench, but it's just covered in moss.
Try to go and scratch off a little bit of the moss and see if there's any symbols or runes under that.
Yeah, you scratch off some of the moss, but there's nothing underneath it that you can see. Good thinking though.
Yes, my dear. Is there anything of the arcane nature in here? Or Slate, maybe you'd be able to find it.
Tell it right now. Eos would have been good at level 2, but with the redoing to the new player's handbook,
Oh, fair.
yeah, unfortunate changes.
I'm willing to try and have a look and see.
I assume it still smells like death.
So your Sorry, you're looking at the symbols themselves, is it? What is it?
So
he's checking, sorry?
I asked Slate to see if there was anything of arcane nature in here,
Arcane
like anything.
nature, sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
Arcane nature. I'll get you to roll an Arcana check for me first, Slate.
So in response to being asked, I'm going to say, I know a little bit about that. And
I know a little bit about a little bit.
yep.
Oh,
Not
it was
this
so
time.
close.
Not this time. 4.
That was
4, okay.
disgustingly close.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing arcane pops out to you. Eos. Make a religion check for me, please.
Ooh, I might know some of this.
Dirty 20. There is one god who is symbolically represented by a triangle. But unfortunately, they don't have a name.
Ooh. Tales. Twisted tales of the unnamed one. Recognize the symbols. Unfortunate. I would tread carefully here, my friends.
Oh, yeah, try not to touch any of those threads because that'll bring this entire thing down.
Any reason why we shouldn't go back the other way and check one of the other passages?
Oh,
I think we should.
all for it.
I'm also rather tempted to find out what this trigger does, though.
Oh, there's just a thing in the back of your head going, just pull it, just pull it.
It's more a fact if I don't want one of those younglings to come in here and do it by accident.
Well, then we should rather block the passage than triggering the thing while we in, right?
To be fair, they've been here long enough. I think they probably know not to. Their mother seemed...
Yes, and they're
Yeah.
not.
I could activate it from 30 feet away, if that's
We
what we wanted to do.
Don't know how much this is going to affect. You know, that thing falls over, maybe it blasts this entire cave system to smithereens. I vote don't touch it.
Oh, same. I'm simply saying if we decide we want to, I can from 30 feet away.
DM, with my dirty 20 and knowledge of unnamed one, would there have ever been a specific magic type associated with the unnamed one?
I'll give you this, though minimal it may be.
Sounds good.
The representation of magic and the school of magic that the unnamed one was given
Hmm.
was necromancy.
Okay.
Yes, let's check out the other tunnels then.
Dash. What do
Yes.
you hear looks like a target?
To me, looks like a target.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that triangle. Is there anything else that stands out, DM?
Only what I've said so far. There's nothing else in this room.
And Adriana, would you agree this triangle looks like a target?
If you're looking for something to aim at, then yes.
Let's check out the other tunnels.
Well, yeah, I was about to suggest the same. I think If we investigate the other tunnels, we might get a bigger picture.
Yeah.
How extra perturbed does Eos seem by this room?
Leave that to
Well,
Rose.
she's a bit shaken a small bit, but she's very curious. Now that she understands the Unnamed One was somewhat associated with necromancy, it's stirring something inside of her for sure. But the signs of the traps, the unsurety of the scenario, the limited information knowledge about this person is holding her back from something she would like to try and do. Because she wouldn't know if it would end in her favor or not.
Hmm. Adriana makes a note to herself to keep an eye on Eos.
She's delighted with the cloak, though.
So we move on to the second passage, not the one that goes to the T-junction.
As you enter that passageway, it leads down about 30 feet and then goes in about 30 feet. It's covered in cobwebs, broken wood, and anyone proficient in investigation may find out what else. This is not limited to 2, just limited to anyone with that proficiency.
Investigation. I will definitely
Please don't let this suck.
have a go at that.
So that 1.
It sounds like
that
that
one.
Are you sitting on any inspiration by any chance? Because it can't get worse.
I'm not.
Oh dear. 13. Something is out of place. For Slate.
Right.
For Madriana, everything looks Gucci. This is just a weird hole. Oh, not a weird hole, a weird cave turn. But Slate. Out of place. We're gonna say that?
I was going to say, can I persuade the room to give up its secrets, but I probably presume that won't work.
Slate, how would you like to proceed here, as you're the only one with any relevant information here?
I think knowing what we know about the room that we've just come from and standing at the mouth of this room and seeing cobwebs, I assume, without knowing any more, that there is probably some kind of mechanism or trap in here as well. And I would be trying to just, first of all, take in the room, even if I can't perceive the detail of what might be there. But for example, in the last room, we had the triangle, or we had the totem, even though it took extra work to figure out that the totem was connected to the string. I'm just looking for a general, what can I see other than cobwebs, first of all, and then I'll tell you how I'd like to proceed. But with caution is the quick version.
You can make another investigation check. If you're bringing attention to it, someone can help you as a reminder. But I would strongly advise in the future that, make this ever present to the room so that people know to help you.
Can I try to help? I'm not proficient, but I can try to help.
Typically, I lean into proficiencies for a help action, but it's I'll leave it up to Richard in this case.
Well, I mean, more is if you want me to roll separately, kind of thing.
Again, I'll leave it up to Richard who he's telling or what he's saying.
So, I'm usually quite good at this. Right now, I know that there's something off, but I can't quite put my finger on it. Yeah, I mean, anybody who can see better than I can, or maybe any of you that are used to lurking in the shadows, you might be able to see something that I can't. But there's definitely something out of place in this room. So I'm gonna turn to the group and
allow me
see
to
what-
help. So what is it? A perception check?
Investigation.
Investigation. Okay.
So are we doing?
I do separate.
You can do it with. I already did the first one, so you can do this with an advantage. So I'll help you using what I've seen already and passing on the information that I've done, and let you have a bash at it.
$16.
There are no threads in here, but that is what's maybe misplaced. And as you look up, you see woven into the webs of the ceiling a long dead adventurer trapped within what looks like a silk fine woven cobweb that has lasted many, many years.
The adventurer, when you
For context, they're
see
about 30 foot up if you're doing something here. Sorry. Go ahead.
well, I was going to say, if when you see a spider, when it has trapped something and wrapped it up, etc., and gone at it, basically, usually you can see that it's all shriveled up, decayed, whatever. But basically, you can see that it's been consumed, that the life force has been drained out of it, that it's not just got caught and just rotted away. You can see that it's been siphoned, for lack of a better word. Is there, like, from the 30 foot, is anything like that visible? I suppose what I'm looking for here is to see, is this simply I believe it to be natural webbing. Therefore, I suspect that there is something that secretes webbing. Therefore, something caught something and put it there, or left it there, and or tampered with it. So rather than going down the mechanical or man-made route, I suspect that there is something down here which is scarier to the other creatures, and that's the reason they come here, rather than a magic or whatever, that there's another thing down here. And they just have this is my half, this is your half, you stay out of mine, I'll stay out of yours type of deal. So that's the vibe I'm getting. So I'm trying to ascertain, is there anything that would lead me to believe that this, there is something secreting web that is giant and massive and feeding on adventurers effectively.
Okay. It could be. It certainly could be. But as you look up and kind of investigate the body, I'm going to make you make a medicine check.
Okay. Seven. This low light is killing me.
Slowly it's killing you, man. It's very difficult to see, but it looks more skeletal than like flesh covered. It's been here for
like
quite
you say,
some time.
long dead.
So it's difficult to say that it was something that maybe was consumed by the likes of a spider, where they, remove the blood from you very ceremonially. It was more like this could have been done ravage of time, or it could have been a ravage of a beast. It's hard to say.
But there's no massive crushed bones or anything, or
Not clear from 30 foot away in the dark with a 7.
Yeah, perfect. Perfect.
Does this webbing, this threading, does it feel natural? Or does it? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You fly up and you move your hand across it, and it sticks to your hand in the most natural of webbing ways.
So there's nothing kind of man-made feel about this, no.
When she touches it, do I see any vibrations, like, following along the webbing anywhere?
She goth. No, it's nothing like that. It's very old. It just seems to be very concentrated.
Like, splat kind of thing around the body, or
Wrapped.
Whip.
wrapped, yeah.
Wrapped in plastic.
It seems very concentrated on this person.
I am going to take my dagger out and gently cut down the side of this webbing to try and free up some of this body. To try and... I want to see a couple of things. One, what it might have been carrying, like weapon-wise, armor-wise. Like, is this someone that was full shielded? Was this just some idiot that just wandered down here? Any paperwork? Any... Like, this could have been like a cartographer that just happened to wander into the wrong cave, or I want to try and ascertain as to maybe who, what,
Seeing
and
this
when.
happen, I'm going to assist you by casting Mage Hand because it's 30-foot range. It's a floating spectral hand. It's able to manipulate objects, open and close things, pick things up. So it can help you loot it or hold it or stop it from falling or whatever. So I'm going to stand under, look up, and whatever I think that you're doing, I'm going to use the Mage Hand to support your action, basically.
Awesome.
Cool. You begin to open it. It seems like somebody in like the worst leather armor. It doesn't look even remotely modern. Like, it just looks like leather armor. They had a sword at their side that is long rusted. Probably in the same manner as the swords and weapons and helms that you found last week in the cave.
Okay. Are we talking one-handed or two-handed?
One. And it's at their side.
So it's not a paladin, not a barbarian. Okay.
No loot, so it's not a bard either. They're long since dead. It's the body of what would be a female. The symbol on their armor may be recognizable as the symbol you saw last week. I'll just give you that because you guys saw on the researchers that I had kind of a symbol or something. This person doesn't have much on them except a silver ring with what looks like a greenish gem on the top. Could be valuable.
She leaves that. She's not one to pick the bones of dead bodies.
I am. Give it here.
You can't see. But no, there's, apart from the symbol on their thing, there's no identification. There's nothing to say. Okay. I come back down. I'm guessing this was the guards for those researchers that died upstairs. So whatever they were messing with, I'm guessing is further ahead.
Well, onwards to check it out, I guess.
Can I use the Mage Hand to, if there's a symbol there, like it's on the leather, is it imprint on the leather, or what is it that still remained after that amount of time?
Ask Madriana, and if she says it, then it would be imprinted on the leather, embossed on the leather specifically, like an emblazoning, not a threaded point on the leather. It's burned in or crushed.
So exactly that. Then I'm going to say to it, Madriana, how do you know that they were connected? How do you know this was the guards for the others we found?
They had the same emblem on the armor. You have papers and stuff which you use for random things, don't you?
This is
May
what
I
was
take a piece?
just thinking. I'm going to say perhaps we can take the swath of clothing, that little piece, the large piece of it, whatever it is that has that on it.
I have a different
I'd like
idea.
to take one.
If you have a piece of paper, I can certainly get you it.
Yeah. I rather than an etching, I want the actual piece.
Oh.
I'll give you the paper.
Oh well, I mean, if a a rubbing of it wouldn't be enough, I can get you it.
Yeah.
And I'll
please.
go up and if the leather's kind of that worn, that old, I'll just gently use my dagger to try and cut around the edge of the symbol to bring it down.
Okay. Yeah, I'll say that's fine. Takes a moment or two, but it's fine.
And I put it down and I give it to Slate.
Thank you. And then I'm going to take a dagger and start running it around the edge, smoothing the edges. And I'm going to say I can change my appearance. To some degree, I can change my clothing. But being able to put something authentic on my clothing might help us at some point. And we're just smoothing out the edges of the frays and things like that with the blade, etc. So it could possibly be used, even momentarily at a glance. It might be possible.
No problem. There isn't too much in the way of useful information here. A few cobwebs along the walls, natural, small, like normal spider cobwebs. A few rocks around the place, but that's mostly it.
This is the end of this corridor, though. It looks like we have one more to check out.
Or the T-junction, so potentially two.
As we haven't found the culprit of this doing, maybe we should try and be a little bit quieter. Yes, you seem to be quite good at that at the moment.
Absolutely.
Love that
Go
cloak of yours.
ahead, make your roll, give it advantage.
That's my intention as well, is to be as quiet as possible.
30-20.
Yes,
Yes.
if we ever go to Balforos, I want to show that cloak to my mother.
Someone got a nat 20
Oh
there.
my god.
Oh, Madriana got a nat 20. Nice. Hatsu got an 18. Slate got a 7. Dash got a 15.
He's struggling. It's dark.
Due to technical difficulties, the stream went down. We paused immediately and waited. Apologies for the interruption.
Where we left off, the guys had gotten some pretty intense rolls. So just in case, because I'm not sure where that cut out there, they were rolling for stealth to leave this and go into the further part of the cave. Eos got a nat 20 with her... Oh, no, sorry. Was it... No, sorry. Madriana got a nat 20. Eos got a dirty 20 with her advantage. Hatsu got an 18. Madriana got a nat 20 for a total of 27. Dash got a 15 and Slate got a 7. And I said that any of the stealth mishaps for the 7 perhaps were immediately cancelled out by the nat 20. And I believe that's where we were. As we watch the group proceed down the hill, or down through the cave, I should say, down the hill. Where was I? As the group proceed through the cave.
Watching K push.
Watching. I hate that song. It's stuck in my head all the time. I love that song, but I hate that song. It's stuck in my head all the time. Eos, you take the lead with your high-ish stealth. Madriana, you follow right behind her. Hatsu right behind Madriana, and you move up through the cave. As you approach the T-junction, on your left you find it boarded up. That is where the air is coming from. There are boards and walls set up, barricading the exit that have started to fall from the age. But on the right-hand side of the T-junction, you come face to face with a figure who's reaching out and screaming in terror, encased completely in stone. As you look further up the cave, you all see multiple more figures who look exactly the same, encased in stone, all brandishing different forms of weapons. Adventurers, perhaps. Guards, perhaps. But Eos, you see something different. You see a figure with a cloak and a skull out, streaks of blood forming the wall behind it, and in a flash it's gone. Not one other person saw that. But Eos, that chills you to the bones, while the rest of you, well, you'll have something interesting to deal with next week, I'm sure. Well, that's where we're going to end our session.
Voice in the sky, I curse you.
How?
Dash,
music just-
don't touch anything. You know how you like to become solidified.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that very much.
On your end, thank you so much for the gifted subs. We really appreciate it. Thank you, guys. We got actually another follower there, but I didn't see who it was. But thank you so much for the follow as well.
Woo!
It was an interesting session, and I like these explorations of the caves. When you guys left the cave earlier, I was like, they're going to miss this? They're going to miss all of this? But nah,
No.
hooked you right back in. My friends, thank you so much. We're going to have an interesting post show to talk about with an all new overlay display because we did a little bit of work this week to clean up the stream.
I've got
Give us
Yeti
questions.
friends.
Give us questions.
Yeah,
Ask them.
Ask your questions in
Yes.
chat. Please feel free.
Ask your questions.
We're only going to
kicking
be
the DM out for post show.
Yeah, I won't be in the post show. I'll be working on memes in the background and doing things and getting the post show stuff running. But we will be taking a quick 5-minute break. So we'll be back at 31 there. And we will be taking your questions. Make sure you do ! Questions so that our mods can see that and give us the questions to ask. I believe it's Kian hosting the post show today. So make sure you guys check that out. For those of you joining us in the podcast and for joining us on YouTube, thank you so much for watching. We do appreciate it. And for those of you watching
Smash that like
on
button.
smash the like button. For those of you watching on Twitch, thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for all the gifted subs and the love and support and the follows and the bits and the donos and the clips and everything you guys do. We appreciate you very much. We'll be back in 5, and we hope you enjoyed our session. Until next week, take care. Bye.